Hey guys, Connor here. Usually I'm reacting to football games or talking about past Super Bowls, but today we're performing a little experiment, okay? It's no secret that the 2025-2026 season saw a decline for the Kansas City Chiefs. Stepping into it, putting it up. You've just got to be kidding me. Yeah, this team doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs. Whether it was Andy Reid being unwilling to adapt his offense to a more run-heavy, under-center scheme, like that of the Rams or the Seahawks, or the defense just giving up clutch conversions to teams who would have had no business doing so in the past, something's got to change. And that's where I come in. Today, we're going to be doing an epic rebuild of the Chiefs, spanning God knows how many seasons. And we're going to see if we can get Patrick Mahomes more rings than Brady, with the clock ticking down until his eventual retirement. Season 1, 2026. 2027. Well, I had to create the league and chose to start at week 16 of the 2025 season. That was the latest I could choose, by the way, even though I started during wildcard weekend. I put the game difficulty on all Madden. I set the Chiefs to lose the remaining games like they did in real life, and imported the custom draft class containing next year's rookies. I found it browsing the fan-made draft classes, and it was mostly accurate, although I had to make some tweaks to the order, and obviously people like Dante Moore hadn't decided to go back to Oregon yet, so he'll be, in that draft, even though he's not actually going to be. I simmed to Super Bowl weekend where the Bills were taking on the Seahawks in Bills fans' wildest dreams, and I decided to re-sign Leo Chanel because he's my glorious hunky king, and also because I wanted him to stay on the team for now, and ended up franchise tagging Kelsey to keep him around one more year, because we didn't have enough cap room to flat out sign him for another year. The Bills ended up beating the Seahawks in Bills fans' wildest dreams, and Josh Allen got his first ring in Bills fans' wildest dreams. Not having much cap space meant we'd have to solve a lot of our issues in the draft, and we were forced to let a ton of players walk as we were only able to re-sign Leo and Kelsey, really. Also, I went into the 2026 draft with a few key goals in mind, and here they are. Hey guys, this is Future Connor here. I just wanted to let you guys know that before you watch this part of the video, I made this like several months in the past. So this was before the Chiefs went out and got Kenneth Walker. This was even before Kenneth Walker was even perceived to be, even a possibility of being a free agent. I thought that the Seahawks were going to franchise tag him. So yeah, before you guys go down in the comments and be like, oh my God, this guy's stupid. This guy's a casual. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Just know I made all of this with the Chiefs not having a running back in mind. Now that we have Kenneth Walker on the roster, obviously I don't think the Chiefs are going to go for Jeremiah Love, and honestly them going so hard after Kenneth Walker made me kind of realize maybe Jeremiah Love was going to be gone at pick 9 where we're picking. So I think a team might actually grab him before he even has the chance to fall to us. So we'll see. But anyways, guys, yeah, don't go down in the comments calling me a casual and telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. I made this in the past. Anyways, let's get back into it. Draft Jeremiah Love and give Mahomes a run game. In real life, he's coming off of a torn ACL and LCL, and honestly, in real life, I feel like the best way to protect him would be develop the run game, and that really starts with getting an elite back in Jeremiah Love, who I hope the Chiefs get him in real life, to be honest with you. That's my actual thoughts on the real life draft strategy. The thing about Jeremiah Love is he could be like a top 2 or 3 player in the entire draft. It's just that he plays a position that has kind of fallen out of favor and is seen as less valuable now compared to other things, like edge rusher, quarterback, offensive line, stuff like that. But I think that getting a good back and taking some pressure off of Mahomes is key for us in the game and in real life, to be honest with you. And then 2, find an edge rusher who can support Chris Jones and Karlaftis on the other side, and this is a position the Chiefs have really failed to proficiently fill and struggled to develop in the past few years, and their inability to pressure the quarterback cost them dearly this year, for sure. You think of FAU never really putting it all together and coming online. Even, George Karlaftis seems to be a good player, but he's really not an alpha edge rusher. He's not a guy who is an X factor who's going to take over a game. the way Chris Jones is, for sure. He needs help. You know, you think we have guys like Mike Dana on the roster. You know, they're all just guys. Omenahu, nobody really who's just a crazy difference maker. And George Karlaftis is definitely a good player and is the closest thing to that we have. But I need to find somebody to pair with him and with Chris Jones to improve our pass rush. And 3, find another receiving threat that can either replace Kelsey or Rice, because we're not planning for either of them being with us in the long term. Kelsey obviously because of his retirement on the front door, and Rice because his rookie tenure with us was really just filled with controversy, suspensions, injuries, and that overall just hindered his development in a way where he's kind of, up to this point, just squandered his potential. And then 4, our last goal is find a difference maker in the secondary. Our secondary is filled with young and inconsistent guys at safety and corner, and the only guy who's really a set in stone like value piece is Trent McDuffie. I wasn't able to re-sign anybody, and a lot of guys walked from this position earlier during the re-signing stage. So keeping those points in mind, let's see how we did. Funnily enough, Dante Moore goes number 1 to the Cardinals, even though he's returning to Oregon this year. But actually, this is kind of a blessing in disguise, because it makes the Raiders, who have the number 2 pick in the game, but number 1 in real life, to actually select Fernando Mendoza, which they definitely will. Like, there's no question about that in real life. And players keep flying off the board till they reach us at 9, and we welcome Jeremiah Love to the Kansas City Chiefs. You might be asking yourself, Connor, why does Jeremiah Love look like default white guy 1 on stage, more like himself in this picture? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear viewer, because this brings up a great point about Madden that I'd like to address. It's a terrible dogwater game made by dogwater developers who don't give a flying fuck about franchise players. You see, there are people who put in countless hours of their own sweat, blood, and tears, make realistic draft classes for the game, and EA rewards that effort with a handful of shit. Because if you download one of these draft classes that people have handcrafted, there's a good chance that a bug that has plagued the game for years and has never been fixed will happen, and all the players in that draft class will have their custom appearances overwritten. They'll all be replaced with default bodies, default heads, gear, numbers, which are 11 and 21. So going on from here, if you see a player that looks a little weird and is wearing 11 or 22 outside of a small handful, which I fix, just know that they came from this bugged draft class and it's EA's fault. Fuck them. Alright, sorry for the long rant and crash out, but anyways, back to the draft. Jeremiah Love falls to us and we get our elite back of the future, and we jump forward to the second round where we take R. Mason Thomas, edge rusher from Oklahoma. I think he's going to go in real life late in the first round, maybe in the second half of the first round. But a guy who showed elite ability on the field this year, but maybe had his stock tank a bit after injury sidelined him for a bit. At the beginning of round 3, I noticed that Bronco Nagurski trophy winner Jacob Rodriguez had fallen down the board. Without hesitation, decided to pick up our potential defensive signal caller of the future at linebacker. I seriously doubt he'd drop past the beginning of the second round in real life, but hey, this rebuild's for fun, so I'll take him. Next, round 4, we take wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr. out of Mizzou, who had some good physical traits and speed to complement Rice and Worthy on the perimeter. Then we took defensive tackle Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma to help fill some depth on the defensive line, and that's it for us in the 2026 draft. I had to work painstakingly editing the rookies' appearances and gear to fix the horrendous bug, but then we went to adjust the depth chart and I made a shocking realization. Where the fuck is Chris Jones? He injured? The CPU trade him when I simmed forward? Nope, this bitch deadass retired in the offseason. Well, that's going to throw a wrench into my plans for the immediate future, and that's going to weaken our D-line to the point where we might not even be competitive this season. I end up signing Cam Little, who was a free agent, and traded Butker, who's been a bit too far right for my taste recently, to the Ravens for a 6th-round pick for 2028. I ended up trading away Jawan Taylor as well for a few mid-round picks to get out from under his nightmare contract, and finally, I made a blockbuster trade to send Rashee Rice to Buffalo in exchange for their 1st-round pick, 2027. After looking through the lineup, things were looking a little bit grim for this season, with Sam Howell being our starting QB for the beginning of the season, and our defense had hemorrhaged quite a bit of talent. It is beginning to look more and more like things might be a rebuilding year for us. We jumped into training camp and got some key upgrades for guys like Jeremiah Love, R. Mason Thomas, and J-Rod, and simmed to week 1 of the regular season, where we'd be taking on the Miami Dolphins with Mahomes still being out and Sam Howell starting for us. I decided to play this season opening game manually, and it ended up being a just rainy slog. With the weather, we were unable to produce much with the arm of Sam Howell, and we had to lean mostly into the run game where we found some success, but late in the game, unwilling to trust our defense, I went for it instead of kicking the go-ahead field goal, and we pay the price as Kelsey slips backwards in the rain and we fail to convert, losing our opening game in Miami. The only real bright spot for us was R. Mason Thomas, who actually ended up having a monster day with 4 sacks, his first NFL game, but other than that, we completely failed to deliver offensively. We sim ahead to mid-season and we're 2-4, even with Mahomes back in the lineup. I end up signing Trent McDuffie to a huge $27 million year deal, as I want him sticking around and being a glue guy for our secondary for years to come, and we have a surprising amount of cap room with Chris Jones' departure. Next, we play a mid-season game against the Bengals and Joe Shiesty, where we light it up with 35 points in the first half, with Jeremiah Love putting up over 100 yards on the ground, and we end up blowing them out 48-31 in a high-scoring affair in the rain. We're now 3-4. Now, for the moment of truth, we sim forward to the end of the regular season, and yeah, we narrowly missed the playoffs. We end the season 9-8 as the 8th seeded team, with our opening game loss actually costing us dearly, as the Miami Dolphins end up with the same record as us, but take the head-to-head matchup to snatch the 7 seed and squeak in over us. All isn't lost though, because Jeremiah Love turns out to be a superstar dev player. Mahomes still puts up an impressive stat line of over 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns, and Trent McDuffie, who we locked down with a long-term deal, turns into an X-factor. However, Rashee Rice, who we traded to the Bills, ends up being a top 3 receiver for the season, almost 1,500 yards, 19 touchdowns. Welcome to Season 2. We kick off free agency signing our right tackle for the near future, Brian O'Neill, and scouting some prospects for the draft. For this draft, my strategy was pretty simple. We desperately need to get some talent and depth at the defensive tackle position after the departure of Chris Jones last year with his retirement. So I scouted them out pretty thoroughly with my scouts, and we'd be letting Kelsey go this offseason. So I'd be looking for a tight end with good speed and catching ability in this draft. And outside of that, we'd really just be looking for fast guys to fill out our receiver and cornerback rooms, and maybe a talented tackle if one falls to us. Our first pick's round 1, pick 16. We end up taking maybe one of the best draft picks I've ever taken. Tight end Jackson Holman out of Iowa, whose name sounds like a superhero who, you know what? You get it, never mind. He caught my eye pre-draft because his speed and acceleration looked monstrous, but he also had elite catching skills, so I thought we really couldn't miss with this guy as our Kelsey replacement, as he ended up being the ranked number 2 player in the draft, and we got him at 16. Next, at pick 27, one of the tackles I wanted went to the Panthers right before us, but a receiver who I also had my eye on pre-draft had fallen to us at the end of the first round. I mean, just look at this guy's physical profile here, Jesus Christ. Jason Atkinson, welcome to the team. And just like that, we'd taken 2 top 15 players in the back half of the first round. In the second, we'd end up getting the strong safety I wanted, Nick McMillan, who also turns out to be a great pick with hidden dev. And at the top of the third, the free safety that I also wanted, Jesse Compañero, ends up falling right into our lap as well. Next up, it was time to address defensive tackle, as I had fully scouted and had some late round gems identified and lined up. Round 3, we grab Alex Springs out of Michigan, and he ends up being an absolute steal. Hidden dev. We stumbled a bit next on paper, reaching for Brock Wynn, the guard from Ohio State, just to fill out our O-line room. But honestly, this guy ended up being one of my favorite players because his name sounds like an Asian guy trying to say block win. So this is a win in my books. Next up, we grabbed Cole Porter, cornerback out of Alabama, who ended up being a solid pick with good physical traits. He'd probably see the field after some time developing. Next, we grab another corner, Clayton Barton out of LSU, who was an even higher value player than Porter halfway through the 5th. And the draft was saturated with defensive tackles apparently, because in the 6th round, I end up finally pulling the trigger on one guy that I had my eye on early, Theo Gilchrist out of South Carolina. And once again, we end up with a late round steal with hidden dev. And with our final pick in the 2027 draft, we get some good value with Joseph Moore, strong safety out of Western Kentucky, who'd probably be backing up the other 2 I took earlier. We dive right into training camp, where I notice a weird detail. Mahomes is starting to heavily regress despite only being about 32 years old, and for those of you who don't know, QBs can really have a prime of, 10 plus years from about 25 to 35 usually. So I actually went and bumped down the QB regression sliders to make up for this. And after doing some drills to recoup some of the lost progression for Mahomes and gain skills for our new draft picks, I ran into another bug where I got a scenario for rookie OTAs where the game incorrectly flagged Leo Chanel as a rookie. And I just told him, get up to speed, Rook. Thanks for that, EA. Jeremiah Love was coming along nicely at an 88 overall, and Holman, our new tight end, would also be starting out at a whopping 83 overall. I signed Drew Lock to back up Mahomes just in case, and off we go to week 1 where we're taking on the Bengals in their house to open up the season. The game ends up being another high-scoring affair where Jeremiah Love shows his explosiveness, ripping off a 90-yard run early, but Jamar Chase and Joe Shiesty kept them in the game. We got our rookie Jason Atkinson involved next in the red zone, getting him his first NFL touchdown as he snuck behind the zone defenders against cover 2 to put us up 8 again. Our other rookie difference maker got involved next as Jackson Holman found himself matched up against a linebacker in the end zone. Suddenly we're killing the Bengals, who end up scoring some points in garbage time, but it wasn't nearly enough and we'd win the opening game. I decided to give Worthy an $11 million per year contract to keep the speedster around for a while and keep taking the top off of defenses, and we'd sim ahead to week 8 where we had a bye and we're 5-2, and now we're taking on the Raiders in week 9 with their new star QB Fernando Mendoza, who I actually had to sit there and edit him to make him look like himself because of the glitch that I was talking about earlier. And like us, they're 5-2, meaning the game is vitally important as we want to have the head-to-head record on them as we move towards the playoffs later down the line. We end up finding our Mizzou boy Kevin Coleman Jr. early, putting us ahead in the first quarter where we get a stop on Mendoza and get it back, hitting Xavier Worthy in stride on a corner route. He'd take it all the way to put us up 8. Raiders managed to match our score though, with Brock Bowers catching it underneath in the red zone, but we'd almost instantly find a mismatch with Jackson Holman blazing by his guy up the seam, separating from the defense for another one-play touchdown. Raiders answered again though, with Bowers cooking on the corner route in the end zone, and so far they were going blow for blow with us. We opened up the gates next for Love, who broke an arm tackle and made his way to the crib to put us up by 8 right before the 2-minute warning, and the Raiders would fail a 4th down conversion instead of taking the points, and we'd get in range for Cam Little to boot one through just before halftime. We receive at halftime and find Holman running free underneath in the red zone. From there, the Raiders weren't able to hang, falling 45-27, and we'd improved to 6-2. Off to the playoffs we go as I sim ahead, and we end up finishing the season with a record of 13-4, winning the division and coming into wildcard round with the 2 seed. Mahomes put up a disgusting stat line of 4,700 yards through the air and 52 touchdowns, while Jeremiah Love was no slouch himself, going for 1,350 and scoring 8 touchdowns. Notably, Kevin Coleman Jr. had a breakout year at receiver, racking up 1,170 yards and a whopping 18 touchdowns. Jackson Holman backing him up with 1,100 of his own, and I wanted to see some standouts on the D-line, but our Mason Thomas spent almost the whole year injured, and Ashton Gelati was the team's sack leader with only 7.5. I decided it was time to get into our playoff matchup against the 8-9 Texans, who barely squeaked in, and for these playoff games, I'm mostly going to be slow simming and allowing the game to play out while maybe stepping in really big moments once or twice a game. Texans went 3-and-out to start the game, and so did we, but allow me to draw your attention to a trend that I began to notice watching the team play on autopilot. AI Mahomes is, no, I don't want to get demonetized, so I'll put it this way. AI Mahomes is a guy who commits acts of terror on the general population. And let me explain. I don't know why, but AI Mahomes just sits there in the pocket and just takes sacks on like 50% of his dropbacks, like just blissfully unaware of rushers bearing down on him. You'll see it this game with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson really highlighting it by creaming him just over and over again. Houston punts again. AI Mahomes instantly takes a sack, then another one, and another one. And we've got a punt again before the Texans are able to finally move the ball and kick a field goal to finally put some points on the board. Next drive, we actually picked up a first down as AI Mahomes stands in, hit as he's throwing, and Kevin Coleman made an insane catch on 3rd and 12 to get us near midfield. Mahomes found Coleman again on the slot fade, and suddenly we're knocking on the door. 2 plays later, Mahomes went back to Coleman on the shallow crosser to pick up a first down at the 2. A few plays later, Mahomes hit the rookie Holman in the flat and let him work into the end zone to go up 7-3 before halftime. halftime. CJ Stroud almost instantly answered back though, buying a little time and chucking it back across the field for Nico Collins, who caught it in stride, taking it all the way down to make it 10-7 with a minute left in the half. We managed to move down the field, taking our timeouts, setting up Cam Little in range, where I took over and booted it through to tie things up before halftime, and we'd get it back. We started off the second half strong on offense, moving down the field with ease, but hit a snag in the red zone as AI Mahomes let himself get sacked for the 5th and 6th time, leaving us on 3rd and 22, where Mahomes just stood there brain dead again and took another sack, forcing us to settle with Cam Little. And, we'd take the lead, but I'm just sitting there with my mouth just absolutely agape at this point. We traded punts with the Texans again before they drive it easily into our red zone, but we managed to get the stop with Omar Norman Lott sacking Stroud, forcing a kick with 30 seconds left, and Sly tied things up 13-13. I decided to take control here, and with 28 seconds left, found Coleman on a quick out where the defense gave him way too much space, and he got rolling down the sideline and almost into range in one play. Plenty of time left, we played it safe and bulldozed ahead with Jeremiah Love. We're quickly tossing it to Worthy underneath and letting him go out of bounds at the 5. We'd hand it off one more time to Love to center it with 8 seconds left. Cam Little boots it through to give us the lead, and after the kickoff, Houston had 2 seconds, needing a miracle, going for a Hail Mary that was unsuccessful, and we'd barely scraped by the 8-9 Texans to the divisional round. Next, we'd be taking on the Patriots and Drake May, who are in the Super Bowl a few weeks from now as of me filming this. We got the ball off a quick 3 and out by the Pats. Jeremiah Love ripped off a big run to start the drive, and Xavier Worthy got us down to the goal line, but a big-time negative run from Love and another sack by AI Mahomes kills the drive, and we're forced to settle for 3. The Pats end up moving down the field with ease, but our defense came up clutch, stopping them near the red zone and forcing them to settle for 3 as well. We end up going nowhere fast with a 3 and out and end up punting back to the Pats, who got into scoring range in a flash with a seam ball from Drake May, but stalled out again, once again settling for 3 and taking the lead right before half. We got the ball after half, but end up getting stopped off of... Oh, you guessed it. AI Mahomes just stands there like a dickhead and takes another sack. Luckily for us, the Pats quickly went 3 and out, but AI Mahomes' acts of terror weren't over yet. The next play from scrimmage, AI Mahomes forces it late to a wide receiver screen in the flat, and cornerback Marcus Jones jumps it, intercepting the ball for New England in the red zone, putting our defense in a tough spot. Luckily for us again, Drake May gets forced from the pocket, and George Karlaftis forces him to throw it away on 3rd down, and once again they have to settle for a kick. Things are starting to look really dire for us, especially if our offense can't get something going, so I step in. We get a chunk play on a PA throw to Worthy to get us to midfield, then hand right up the gut to Jeremiah Love, who gets to work, catching the pass with a light box, and he takes it all the way to the crib in one go, and suddenly we're up right before the 4th quarter. The Patriots move the chains one time offensively, but then are stopped cold on 3rd down as Ashton Gelati gets made down from his blind side, and we get the ball back with 3.5 minutes left on the clock. AI Pat goes back to his old ways and takes a massive sack by none other than Charles Omenihu, who we let walk in a previous season, and that leaves us on 3rd and 16, where Omenihu gets home again, folding the edge on Mahomes, and suddenly we're punting back to the Patriots from our own end zone with plenty of time left for them to take the lead. They get the ball at midfield and quickly get into field goal range, and at this point I'm basically shitting my pants, but we do have 3 timeouts left. They idiotically throw the ball 3 times in a row and get none of our timeouts. The kicker nails it, and we're down 2 points with just over a minute left, but crucially, all of our timeouts. I take over again, throw it to Worthy in the flat, and he manages to get out of bounds, quickly gaining 13 before tossing it to Holman over the middle, and we take our first timeout at midfield, and we only need about 10 more yards to be well within Cam Little's range. We put another short throw on Holman and pick up a first down. We have to use our second timeout. Next play, I find Holman on the shallow crosser again, and he takes it to the 35, where New England takes their second timeout, and we're in range. But I want to get a few more yards just to be safe in case they try and ice us. Jeremiah Love takes the handoff, and they open a big hole for him as he gets another first in one go, and New England takes their final timeout. You run one more play, throwing it to Worthy in the flat, and he takes it forward and gets the clock ticking so we can take the walk-off kick, and Cam Little sinks the chip shot, and once again, we narrowly come away with the victory, and after 2 seasons of mediocrity, we're headed back to the AFC Championship. Unfortunately for us, We're going to have to go back on the road to Buffalo for this one, and the classic matchup of Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen comes around in the playoffs once again. Off we go to Highmark Stadium, and honestly, I'm not feeling great about this one after we barely slinked by the previous 2 rounds. As long as AI Mahomes doesn't take 8 sacks, I'd be fine with the outcome of this game. Bills receive first, and on 2nd and 9 of the opening drive, Josh Allen makes an absolute head-scratching throw, just chucking it right to Brian Cook in double coverage, and suddenly we've got the ball inside Buffalo territory with a chance to go up early, and that we do. We work our way into the red zone on a clutch 3rd and 6 from the 12. Mahomes surveys and pulls it down, taking it himself, going around the edge for an early score, and we manage to punish the mistake of Josh Allen. On drive number 2, Josh finds Rashee Rice for a huge chunk, getting them past midfield almost instantly, but on 3rd and 9, Josh hucks it towards the end zone, but Jalen Watson almost catching it in bounds over his shoulder for a pick, but it'd leave them on 4th down and booting it back to us. Starting at our own 11, we start to matriculate the ball down the field, as they used to say.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
And end up stalling out at Buffalo's 45. Not to fear, we have Cam Little, who bangs it through from 62 yards out with ease, putting us up 10. Buffalo pulls off a long drive, working their way to our 10, but Allen once again tries to test Jalen Watson, throwing a devastating pick in the end zone, and we'd get it back inside the 2-minute warning at our own 20. Things are looking a little grim after Mahomes throws a dangerous pass on 2nd, but on 3rd and 2, he decides to channel Greg Jennings and put the team on his back though, rolling out, stiff-arming a DB, and willing his way through 3 guys to pick up another 1st down. We eventually got Cam Little in range again for another 60-yarder, but this time he missed as time expired, but we go into halftime up 10-0. We receive and start grinding it out, getting up to midfield, but on 3rd and 1, Mahomes finds Worthy over the middle, who is well past the line to gain already, but stretches the ball out like a dumbass and puts it in the turf, where Russo's able to dive on it. Is this where Buffalo starts making their comeback? James Cook rips off a big run up the gut to kick things off, but Buffalo stalls out thanks to a well-timed Alex Springs sack, and we luckily retain our 10-point lead even after the turnover because Buffalo's kicker whiffs the long kick, and we're almost right back to where we started before the fumble. On 2nd and 10, the wide receiver screen isn't there, and Mahomes has to give himself up for a big loss, leaving us on 3rd and 16, which is apparently nothing for my glorious king, as he launches it down the sideline for Worthy, who gets several steps on Christian Benford and gritties on his ass in the end zone, giving us a 3-score lead late into the game with Buffalo's hopes beginning to slip away. Buffalo starts finding something on the next drive, however, as they grind it out, working downfield with Josh finding Rice, who dives down at the goal line, and Josh takes it himself on the following play, and on a QB blast, pushing his way in. Suddenly there's some life for Buffalo. We end up getting down inside Buffalo's 20, but get stopped on a QB sneak where they force us to kick it. Cam Little chips it in to put us up 20-7 with 2.5 minutes left in the game. The Bills get it back, needing almost a miracle, and Josh snipes Coleman between the zone defenders to get them to midfield in a flash, or they'd have to grind out some tough yardage for a bit, taking it inside the 2-minute warning. And from our 26, Josh Allen hits Shakir in the flat, and suddenly they're knocking on the door with some run after catch. And on the next play, Josh just spins around and chucks it to Kincaid, with 2 guys coming over the middle, coming down with it for a last-minute score. And just like that, we're only up 20-14 with them needing an onside kick for a chance to win. Thankfully for us, the recovery went haywire as the Bills touched it too early. Brian Cook caught the tipped ball, and we'd be able to saunter it away with a few kneel downs and punch our ticket to Super Bowl 62, where we'd be taking on Jackson Dart and the 9-8 Giants with their new X-Factor linebacker, Arvell Reese, for a chance at our franchise's 5th ring and Pat's 4th. Patrick Mahomes ends up winning the NFL MVP off of his incredible regular season stat line. Mar Chase wins Offensive Player of the Year, and Alex Highsmith ends up winning Defensive Player of the Year, and we're off to the Super Bowl. We kick the ball to the Giants to start the game, and they quickly go 3 and out as Nick Bolton and Grayson Halton bring Dart down for a sack on 3rd and 9. And we get the ball near midfield, which we cross quickly with a truck and run by Jackson Holman, but we're unable to convert at the 37, so out comes Little, who misses the opening kick. The Giants get it back 0-0. The Giants hand to Scattaboo over and over for some good ground and pound yardage all the way down to our 30. Dart throws a dangerous ball that's almost picked off by Nick McMillan, and they're forced to settle for 3. But McMillan may be frustrated with his dropped pick, roughs the kicker, and New York's offense gets to go back out on the field. They manage to get a few more yards, but that's all our stingy defense gives up, and they're forced to get aggressive on 4th and 2, but Ashton Gelati snags Scattaboo in the backfield, and our mistake earlier goes unpunished. Starting at our own 7, Mahomes finds Worthy on a dig on 2nd down, but he makes the exact same mistake that he did last game, reaching with the ball for no fucking reason, and the Giants get the ball back right where they left off in our red zone. Dart tries scrambling on 1st down, but Nick Bolton stands stamps him right at the line, and on third down, our defense holds strong again. We force him to settle for a chip shot field goal, and it's a miracle that we're only down 3-0 right now. Next drive, we kick things off with Mahomes lofting out to Noah Gray, who's wide open, getting across midfield before going down, before we'd stall out again, with Mahomes getting smacked from his blind side by Abdul Carter and getting cleaned up by Brian Burns. We're forced to punt it right back to the Giants with 2 minutes remaining in the half. Grayson Halton gets home to Dart on first down, and on second, Dart tries to throw late into the flat, and who else but Brian Cook jumps it and takes it to the crib, grittying, putting us up before halftime 7-3. With all the momentum on our side now, we kick it back to the Giants and they get a few yards on first down, but on second, Dart tries scrambling through the gap up the middle, and Jacob Rodriguez flattens it, jarring the ball free and scooping it to get us the ball once again inside New York's 25. Well, the dub is short-lived because Mahomes decides to fire a bullet straight to the lurking Bobby Okereke, looking for Worthy over the middle. The Giants get it right back at their 13, and Dart's critical mistake goes unpunished. The Giants manage to work their way up to their 40 when disaster strikes again. A clean pocket, Dart lofts up a duck into double coverage on the sideline, looking for Darius Slayton, and McDuffie comes down with it, and we take over at New York's 48. We easily take the rest of the time off the clock to get into field goal range, and Cam Little slams it through to give us a 7-point lead going into halftime. We receive the ball after half, and Mahomes starts dicing up the Giants defense with a couple of intermediate throws to get us near midfield before taking a disastrous sack on the following third down. We got to punt it away. Dart hits a big chunk play to Neighbors, but it's nullified by a holding call, and on 3rd and 7, McDuffie comes flying off the nickel blitz and Dart goes down to the sack, forcing another punt where we take over at the 42. Mahomes does the unthinkable. On the exact same play as last time, forcing it to Worthy, throws it right to Okereke again, and the linebacker takes it back into Chiefs territory before going down. This is what I'm talking about when I said AI Mahomes is a terrorist. The Giants start matriculating the ball and end up inside our 10, where the fourth quarter starts, and Scadaboo gets them down to the 3, takes it again for another quick yard, and on 3rd and goal, Nick Bolton creeps up out of his zone and leaves Slayton wide open behind him for a game-tying touchdown with 5 minutes to go in the game. AI Mahomes wasn't done with his streak of terror yet. Oh, no. Abdul Carter drops out of zone coverage off the edge, and Mahomes, again, looking for Worthy on that dig, forces it in for an interception, giving the Giants the ball at our 41, and I am just lost for words at this point. Dart takes a huge sack from Halton that leaves them on 3rd and 10, but Neighbors absolutely cooks our man coverage on the next play and takes it all the way to the house before hitting a gritty of his own, and suddenly we're in danger of losing the Super Bowl with only 3.5 minutes to go. I decide that AI Mahomes' reign of terror has gone on long enough and step in. We almost get stopped on our first series of plays, and on 4th and inches from our own 39, I decide to break tendency for the Chiefs, call a QB sneak, and we barely pick it up to keep our season alive for now. We methodically work our way down the field and take it down inside the 2-minute warning, and my goal is to leave the Giants with almost no time left if they get the ball back. We eventually get inside the 10, where they show a big blitz on 3rd and 4, and Jason Atkinson, the rookie, makes a huge catch to pick up the first down with under 30 seconds left. I almost mismanaged the clock, and it keeps ticking down to 5 seconds before we get the next play off, and we find Jordan Atkinson again coming right over the middle scot-free with a game-tying score with 3 seconds left. Cam Little puts it through to send us to overtime. The Giants win the toss and elect to receive, which I'm happy with, and on 3rd and 11, Brian Cook comes downhill and makes a sure-handed tackle on Scadaboo on the screen. We force them to punt it away on 4th and 3, a chance to win it all with a kick on this drive. Huge 3rd down arises after Kevin Coleman takes the crosser for a few, even a short, where Jackson Holman, whose elite tight end speed pays off, getting a step on Arvell Reese and hauling all the way down the sideline into the Giants' 43, which is technically in Cam Little's range, but I at least want to give him a chip shot in case they ice him. We hand it to Love, and he weaves through traffic on an inside handoff all the way to the 29 before going down, and things are going exactly how he wanted so far. Next play, I hold on to the ball too long, indecisive, and have to throw it away, opting for another run, this time with Brashard Smith for a few. We finish off the drive with an I formation handoff. Jeremiah Love, who only manages to pick up a yard, set up Cam Little at the 26. They try to ice him as I expected, and I have a little trouble lining it up, but ball don't lie, and the kick goes through, and we come out victorious in overtime of Super Bowl 62. Both QBs ended the game with horrendous stat lines, and Brian Cook ends up winning Super Bowl MVP off of his 2 interceptions, one of which being a pick 6. Alright, that's gonna do it for for Season 2, guys. Welcome to Season 3 of Chiefs franchise. Last year, we beat the Giants in an epic Super Bowl matchup for Super Bowl 62, filled with turnovers, drama, and we barely won it in overtime. And in the offseason, I decide to accept Josh Simmons' 5th-year option and end up franchise tagging Kingsley Suamataia to see if we can maybe keep him around for another year or trade him. I don't want the O-line to fall apart until we know we'll have the draft capital to find some replacements when, they start to get old. On to free agency we go, and first we need to address the backup QB position, picking up a personal favorite of mine, Joe Milton III.
Ain't a nigga fucking with me, swear that's how I'm feeling. Young nigga was 16.
Next, we make an offer to Isaiah Pacheco to get a cheap but serviceable backup for Jeremiah Love and bring him back. And after taking inventory of our lineup, I realized that we also need some backup tight ends for Holman. Our roster's pretty stacked still, and we didn't lose much to free agency as a ton of our difference makers are still on their rookie contracts. So I end up bringing back Cole Wilkins, our backup guard, for cheap, since he could actually end up being a starter after some more development time, and end up sending an offer to Wanye Morris to continue addressing depth pieces for our O-line and bring him back as well. I ended up finishing up our initial negotiations by making an offer to big old Darnell Washington, as I want good blocking tight ends on the team to help open up holes for Jeremiah Love. I head over to the trade center and shop around Omar Norman Lott, since it seems like good defensive tackles grow on trees in the draft in Madden, and end up getting a 4th and a 6th round pick out of Arizona for him. So we sim ahead to the draft, and my goal for this one is to look for Brian O'Neill's successor and maybe round out our secondary and linebacker groups if we can. We dive right in, and we're just going to work with the picks that we have. Starting with pick 32, I end up convincing myself to grab an edge rusher, Artie McDaniel, who looks like he has great physical skills, and he ends up being a bit of a steal, being the 19th overall player and having hidden dev. Next, at the bottom of the second, Devin Powers, a Mike linebacker that I'd been looking at, falls right into our lap, and he ends up being a bit of a raw athlete because his measurables are off the charts, but his current skills are a bit lacking. He's a hidden dev player, so no doubt he'll be starting for us in no time once we get him up to speed. At the bottom of the third, we grab right tackle Alejandro Beltran, and he looks like a big swing and miss because he's ranked 257th in true value with normal dev. We've collected a huge slew of day 3 picks from all the trades we've made, and we used the first to get an absolute highway robbery of a defensive tackle with Adrian Colin, ranked 30th overall in the 4th round, and I convinced myself next to grab this fullback from Texas next, Xavier Griggs, whose speed and acceleration look off the charts, but his skills end up being a bit raw. Then we move on to the 5th round, where we grab another steal, Braden Melvin, who's the 31st overall at defensive tackle, and we end up grabbing a wide receiver next in Keenan Hooks, who boasts a 4.3 140 at the combine. He ends up being a great value pick with 95 speed. He'll probably be returning kicks for us next year while he develops. Next, we take another swing and miss with Trey Castro, weak side linebacker that has UDFA talent. Before swinging and missing again with a bit of a YOLO pick on the edge, Al Matthews. And with the last pick in the draft, I end up getting good value with the receiving back, Byron Vincent, who will be backing up Jeremiah Love. Ultimately, I'm pretty happy with this draft. We had plenty of picks to just swing for the fences, and ended up getting some guys who will eventually start for our already stacked roster moving into the regular season. We speed through training camp at this point, and I'm itching to see how we do in the regular season, as we kept all of our difference makers after winning it all the year before. Jackson Holman and Kevin Coleman are developing into absolute monsters for our passing game. We've got great depth all over the roster. This year, I'm deciding to switch up our scouts to look at juicing up the secondary, because I want to find a replacement for Brian Cook, and I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep Trent McDuffie, and a Patrick Mahomes contract is probably coming down the pipeline soonish as well. Week 1, we've got a great matchup against the Raiders and Fernando Mendoza. It's a vitally important game for the division standing later in the year. In the first half, it's a real dogfight, with Vegas going up early, but we managed to take the lead right before halftime, and they keep going blow for blow with us in the second half. But with a last-minute score to Jackson Holman in the corner of the end zone, we pull away and barely hold them out of the end zone with the clock expiring, and win our opening week nail-biter at home 35-28. We sim up to mid-season, and we're doing great at 6-1. I decided to make a bit of a change with how we're using our coaching abilities for the rest of the playthrough. Until now, I've been using abilities to increase our performance on the field, but I decided to pivot into more of a player development strategy during the regular season till we get to the playoffs, focusing on abilities that give position groups more XP per week, opting to develop guys we have right now to increase future trade value, and whip more guys on the lineup into playing shape where they'd maybe just be rotting on the bench before. We take on Kenny Pickett and the New Orleans Saints in their house next, blowing them out in the second half half, highlighted by a crazy 36-yard scramble for a touchdown by Unc Mahomes. And we take the dub 41-10 and improve to 7-1 so far. Simming ahead to the playoffs, we end the season with a dominant 15-2 record and the 1 seed, meaning we'll get a bye for wildcard weekend. Switching up our coaching abilities mid-season made a hell of a difference, as everybody on the team is loaded with upgrades now. We still had guys putting up monster numbers during the regular season. Mahomes put up an elite stat line of 4,600 yards and 43 touchdowns through the air, with his right-hand man being Kevin Coleman Jr., boasting 1,450 yards and 13 touchdowns on only 87 receptions. Love had another outstanding season where he found pay dirt a whopping 19 times on the ground, and Leo Chanel, my glorious king, was our standout on defense. An absolute tackling machine with 144, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions from the linebacker position. Jumping forward to the divisional round, we're taking on none other than our division rival and my #1 op, the Denver Donkeys. The game kicks off and we force a quick 3-and-out out of Denver, but on our first offensive play, AI Mahomes uses his special ability, get sacked and get us behind schedule. And on 3rd and 9, Riley Moss comes free on a corner blitz, forcing Mahomes to throw a duck that floats right to Zach Allen, giving Denver the ball at our 30. RJ Harvey immediately takes it right through the teeth of our defense for a blistering 25-yard gain that sets them up at our 3, where our defense miraculously holds strong, and J-Rod breaks it up on 3rd and goal from the 5. Being down 3-0 isn't the end of the world, and we get the ball back. Mahomes finds Jason Atkinson a few times to get us deep into Denver territory, where we look like we're going to stall out in the red zone on 3rd and 13, and AI Mahomes uses his signature move once again, and we're forced to settle for 3 and tie it up. But Denver roughs Cam Little, and we got a fresh set of downs. Jeremiah Love sets us up nicely with a good inside run, and Mahomes finds Jason Atkinson in the back of the end zone on the next play, and we're up 7-3. Crisis looks averted, but he was out of bounds. So, here we go. On 3rd and 1, AI Mahomes tries to take it himself on an I formation drop back, but picks the wrong gap, running right into Zach Allen, who flattens him, and we're forced to settle again, 3-3. The Broncos start driving with the ball and make it all the way up to the 40. We're on 3rd and long. McDuffie makes a clutch breakup. They're forced to punt it back to us. On the following 2nd and 13, AI Mahomes uses his other signature move, throw a bullet straight to the lurking linebacker, and suddenly Denver gets it right back at the edge of the red zone. They work their way down to the 4, and on the verge of scoring, my hunky king, Leo Chanel, full-on ends J.K. Dobbins' life and forces a fumble right at the goal line with Nick McMillan recovering it. We're still in danger though, running plays from our own end zone, where Love gets us some breathing room. Mahomes finds Jason Atkinson on 3rd and 5 on a dig, getting us out of trouble after the 27. A few plays later, Mahomes uses his signature move twice in a row, and Nick Bonito single-handedly forces a punt out of our offense. The Broncos start moving the ball, but Nick Bolton strips Nix near midfield and ends up setting up a 3rd and very long with a clean pocket. Nix delivers to Sutton, and the poor tackling allows them to pick up the clutch first down. They work their way inside the 10, and on 2nd down, X-Factor Nix fires it over the middle of the end zone, and they score with new wide receiver Gordon Bush, whose name sounds like he'd be NASCAR fans' favorite person, and they take the lead 10-3 right before halftime. I decide to hop in and see if we can pick up some points with 17 seconds left and 3 timeouts. We're able to get some yardage quickly with Denver giving us the sideline and work to the edge of Cam Little's range, and he slams in the 61-yarder right down Broadway to make it 10-6 right before halftime. Mahomes kicks off the second half with a big play-action chunk to Xavier Worthy over the middle, and we start dicing up the Broncos' defense methodically, easily working our way into the red zone, where Mahomes finds Coleman to get us inside the 10, and once again running free into the end zone to take the lead, 13-10. On 3rd and 10, R. Mason Thomas comes flying off the edge and wrestles Nix down to force a punt from their 30, and we're back in business. Atkinson continues his big day with another catch over the middle to get him over 100 yards, and on the very next play, Mahomes fits it into a tight window for Jackson Holman, and we're back in scoring position in no time. On the following 3rd down, Mahomes buys himself some time with his legs and makes a homey throw over the middle, and we're in the red zone, where he finds Holman again underneath, and our stud tight end stretches over the goal line. We're up 10 on the Donkeys at home in the playoffs with a little over a quarter to go. The Broncos get a little motion with J.K. Dobbins on their first play. They stall out before being able to cross midfield. They're forced to punt it back to us. Mahomes gets sacked again, leaving us with an almost irrecoverable 3rd and 15, where Mahomes tries a deep lob for Worthy, but Pat Surtain is with him stride for stride, and Denver gets the ball back with a chance to make it a 1-score game. Mims gets a good return, and they start off on their own side of the field. Nix and the Broncos offense start moving at a blistering speed with the deep ball up the seam to get them inside the 10, where Nix finds newly acquired tight end Isaiah Likely underneath our zone defense in the end zone to make it 17-20 with plenty of time left in the game. I decide to take over here because I'm not taking any more chances with AI Mahomes' acts of terror. Coleman Jr. takes it ahead on a spot route to get us a clutch first down on 3rd and 9 before we'd put it in Jeremiah Love's hands next on 3rd and inches. We were successfully bleeding the clock, but a score would be ideal. Love gets another clutch conversion from the gun, and Denver takes the rest of their timeouts. We get another conversion to Jason Atkinson on a drag route, but his momentum carries him out of bounds, but not a problem as we take it to the 2-minute warning and roll into the right. We find Holman with tons of separation on a dig, and he takes it in for his score to put us back on top by 10, and Denver needing a miracle now. The Broncos are able to consistently move the ball on us, but it takes almost all the time off the board, and with 1 play left, Nix finds Likely again, the clock expires, and we're moving on to the AFC Championship for the 2nd year in a row, getting back to our winning ways. We dive into championship week, and we're taking on Cam Ward and the rebuilt Tennessee Titans, who, judging by their overall, should be quick work for us. The Tits pick up a few first downs, but on 3rd and 3 from midfield, Cam Ward gets wrapped up by Gelati trying to scramble, and they get aggressive, going for it on 4th and 3, with Cam Ward chucking up a YOLO ball into double coverage, and they turned it over to us at the 50. We matriculate the ball down the field, and Mahomes hits Worthy for a big chunk play to get us to the 6. They hold up on defense, keeping us out of the end zone. We take a 3-0 lead on our first drive. Titans get it back and quickly go 3 and out again, ending with an R. Mason Thomas sack, forcing them to punt on 4th and 16. And we take over at the 38, where we kick things off with a Jeremiah Love dynamic run, where he jukes guys out of their shoes and weirdly fumbles the ball to himself as he eventually gets tackled. We keep it moving until we're inside the 10, and on 3rd down from the 5, Mahomes puts it on the sure-handed Kevin Coleman in the end zone, and we're now up 10-0 on them nearing the end of the first quarter. The Titans start to find something offensively and drive down deep into our territory before they eventually get to the 3, where Cam Ward hits their new wide receiver, Thurman Hoskins, on an out route, and they significantly cut into our lead 7-10. We get it back, and Mahomes takes a back-breaking sack from Jeffrey Simmons and friends, leaving us on 3rd and 14, where, what do you know, Jeffrey Simmons comes in again and gives him a big hug, and we're punting back to Tennessee from deep in our own territory. And on 2nd down, Cam Ward decided he felt a little Mahomey, running around backwards and taking a massive sack, setting up 3rd and 22, where he tries tossing it to Hunter Henry on the run, but it's broken up and they settle for a field goal to tie things up. Mahomes takes some more devastating sacks, and we punt back to Tennessee before they take it to the 2-minute warning, and they work well into our red zone, but we manage to get a tackle for a loss and hold them out on 3rd, and they settle for 3 to take the lead, and we get it back with a little over 30 seconds to go. We manage to work our way into Cam Little's range, using all our timeouts, and he nails it, tying up the game once again 13-13 at half. We receive the kick and get the ball rolling quickly with a throw down underneath to Love, but we stall out after getting into Tennessee territory as Bashard Smith gets tackled with no chance for run after catch on 3rd down. Cam Little barely misses the long kick from 59 yards out, and we fail to capitalize. The Titans, however, march down the field with ease until they're at 3rd and 8 on our 11, and Ward runs into R. Mason Thomas, and we hold them to a field goal. By this point of the game that I thought was going to be cake, it was turning into a bit of a nail-biter. Next drive, we start by opening up the gates for Jeremiah Love, who rips off a big-time run up the middle, before picking them apart piece by piece until we're in range to at least tie it. We keep going, and Mahomes finds Kevin Coleman running wild behind linebackers, and our new alpha receiver splits the safeties and takes it in to put us back on top for now, 20-16, nearing the end of the 3rd. Ward takes a huge sack from Grayson Halton to start the next drive, but immediately we bust a coverage, and Ward finds a guy running down the sideline to convert on a whopping 3rd and 19. Next play, Cam Ward play fakes and hucks up a piss missile for Quentin Johnston down the sideline, and the big receiver cooks our backup corner Cole Porter with a great catch and a score, and suddenly the Titans are back on top in a flash just outside the 4th quarter. We get some quick chunk plays out of Jeremiah Love and Kevin Coleman before grinding out some more tough yardage to get into the red zone, and a toss out to Coleman in the flat gets us knocking on the door at Tennessee's 3, where Love gets gang tackled in the backfield on 1st, but on 2nd, Mahomes finds his favorite guy Coleman standing alone in the end zone, and we wrest away the lead from the Titans again at the start of the 4th quarter, 27-23. Tennessee starts moving with the ball, but they lose Hunter Henry to injury right as they were about to cross midfield, and on 3rd and 4, Cam Ward drops back and forces it over the middle, and J-Rod jumps it, but drops the pick, and they're forced to punt it back to us with 3:50 left on the clock and pin us back inside the 15. Our objective now is just to burn away the clock as much as we can while still putting ourselves in a position to score. And we start the drive with a big chunk play to Holman on a dig before Jason Atkinson cooks their man coverage on a zig route and picks up another first. The following 2nd and 10, O'Neal loses quickly on the right side, and Mahomes gets pressured into a brutal sack, leaving us on 3rd and 18, and it turns into another as pressure comes straight down the middle in a flash, and we're just outside outside the 2-minute warning, and we're going to have to leave the game in the hands of our defense as we punt it back to Ward with a chance for them to take the lead. Our defense comes out strong, once again putting them in an unfavorable 3rd and long, but once again, Cam Ward clutches up, finding his guy with inside leverage for the first down with the clock ticking. Once again, we get them to 3rd and 13, and this time Ward's forced to toss it into a double-covered corner route, and we break it up, forcing them to go for it on 4th for the game. Ward chucks it up for Johnston on a go route again, but Cole Porter holds up this time, knocking it away, and we're able to punch our ticket back to the Super Bowl, looking for a repeat with a gritty win. We're going to be taking on Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 63, and I'm pretty confident that we've got this in the bag. Our team's overalls far exceed them, but it's all up to AI Mahomes not to commit too many acts of terror. The Bears opt to receive, and on the second play of the game, Caleb steps up and launches it right to our lurking safety, Jesse Campagnaro, who spins free of a tackle and returns it inside their 30, setting up Mahomes and the gang in premium position. Jackson Holman has early onset CTE on 2nd and 9, just allowing the ball to bounce off him without ever looking for it coming over the middle, but on 3rd down, Worthy's wide open coming over the middle, and we get a clutch conversion. A few plays later, Mahomes finds Kevin Coleman on a slant, and our boy fights his way in, and we punish Caleb Williams' early game mistake. Caleb Williams prances back onto the field, and I made a sudden realization that this Super Bowl would probably go down as the Zesty Bowl, as both teams boast the zestiest quarterbacks in the league. Anyways, they work their way back across midfield in no time and stall out at the 35. Luckily for us, settling for a field goal, we're back in action. Mahomes almost instantly launches up an absolute rainbow that lands right in the pillowy hands of Jason Atkinson, who I've nicknamed Mini Puka at this point, and suddenly we're up 14-3, and the Bears need to get something going fast, or this thing might just slip out of their hands. Caleb runs around like a chicken with his head cut off on 3rd down, and just sails a jump pass way over his guy's head. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to think Madden might actually be kind of realistic at this point. We get it back at our own 41. Mahomes finds Coleman for a clutch conversion on 3rd for nickel and diming Chicago's defense for a bit until finally AI Mahomes hits Jackson Holman underneath the defense, and he spins through a tackle and takes it all the way to the house, and suddenly we're massacring the Bears 21-3. Former Steeler Caleb Johnson starts ripping off big runs on our defense as we're starting to sit back and just take away all the big shots well before halftime. But the nightmare continues for Caleb as Nick McMillan runs the route for his guy and jumps the throw over the middle, putting an end to the Bears drive as soon as they started getting some momentum. Mahomes and Holtman keep dicing up the Bears defense, who don't seem to be able to find any answers for our playmakers. Jason Atkinson gets us to the goal line on a sweet post route, and the defense just flat out forgets to guard the edge as Jeremiah Love walks in absolutely unscathed to put us up 28-3. No, wait a minute. No. No! Well guys, history decides not to repeat itself as the absolute train wreck continues for Chicago when they're driving in the 2-minute drill, and Leo Gilchrist, our superstar interior rusher, sheds his block and makes sweet love to Caleb Williams. And the ball flies right out of his hands to Ashton Gelati, who takes the fumble all the way for another score, and it's looking absolutely Jover right before halftime. As much as I'd like to say the Cardiac Bears came back in the second half and made things interesting after being thoroughly nutted on in the first half, well, not much happened in the second. Their backup running back, who is an X-Factor by the way, randomly went beast mode on us for an 82-yard home run on a basic inside zone handoff. Mahomes found Holman for his second touchdown reception to put us up 42-10, and we were able to just saunter away the game from there, possessing the ball, burning up the clock. I was super proud of the boys. We get a dominant blowout win in Super Bowl 63, going back to back, and I never needed to take over a single time in the game. It's enough to make a grown man cry. We come away with ring number 5 for Mahomes and number 6 for the franchise, tying the Steelers and the Patriots. I take a peek at the yearly awards, and Joe Burrow barely beats out Mahomes for MVP, but Jeremiah Love wins Offensive Player of the Year, and we're off to the offseason. Welcome to Season 4. It's our last chance to re-sign players, and we got some big ticket guys needing new deals. First off, we gotta get a deal done with our long snapper before we move on to some of our more trivial guys like our offensive line. I get a 3-year deal done with guard Trey Smith, who's starting to get pretty damn expensive, and we end up getting a 2-year deal done with center Creed Humphrey, who's quite a bit cheaper but higher overall and older by a year. I'm looking through everybody else, but I'm a bit conflicted about spending big money to keep Noel Williams around, as well as Kingsley Suamataia, and I make the tough decision to let them walk along with everybody else. We've got a good chunk of cap room to work with going into free agency, but nobody's initially standing out to me other than some unk prospects at guard who can maybe be a band-aid for us since we let go of Kingsley. I make a big offer to Kevin Dotson to be the unk we need, and start looking at safeties, and make an offer to Marquez Siegel, who looks pretty good physically. We also need to fill the right tackle position as well, so I go after Josh Connerly Jr., coming off his rookie deal in Washington, and he'll be our solution for now. I also make an offer to Trevor Etienne because we need a reliable backup for Love, and we hit evaluate. Dotson signs elsewhere, but the other two sign with us, and that's it for free agency for now. Heading towards the draft, our offense is still a total powerhouse. Cole Wilkins has actually developed from a 60-something overall late rounder into a passable guard who we can play right now, and Mahomes is still surrounded by the most speedy skill position room I think I've ever put together. The obvious weakness, and I'm saying it with quotes around it because we got so many elite players, is our defense. Our main positions of weakness are cornerback 2, edge rusher, and safety, so that's what I'm going to look to fill in this draft. Right before the draft, I decide to take one last look at our roster and see who has a single year left on their deals, because if we can get some extra picks right before the draft for some aging players, I think it might be a game changer. I end up shopping around George Karlaftis and Nick Bolton and find a buyer in the Saints who give me pick 13 for him. I also deal Grayson Halton to the Commanders for a third rounder, as we've already got so much talented depth at the defensive tackle position. With our new draft picks, I reevaluate our potential picks, taking a look at some prospects inside the top 15 now, and off to the draft we go. At pick 13, one of the corners I was looking at goes 2 picks before us, but the one I really wanted is still on the board. 6'4" Jadarius Scott from Central Michigan is staring me in the face. He looks like an absolute monster. Apparently he was a slight reach, but I have a feeling he's going to be guarding the perimeter for us in no time. At pick 32, 6'7", right tackle Khalil Bolden from Wisconsin's on the board, and I grab him. He's a bit raw in terms of skill, but he's got hidden dev and could easily be our guy of the future. We're now at the end of round 2, and another corner I've been looking at, Demarius Harris, is still there, and I grab him, and he's a steal. Ranked 46th overall, he'll be backing up McDuffie and Scott for now. Next, at the bottom of round 3, I grab an athletic freak of a speed rusher in John Gibson, who's going to probably play opposite of Artie McDaniel, and he's a gem with hidden dev. At round 4, pick 9, I take a look at some receivers to see if there's any speedy wideouts left, and end up selling myself on Antoine Walker, who has great speed and acceleration, but he's a bit of a raw athlete, so he'll probably just be our return guy for this year. We take another corner in Theo Black at the bottom of the 4th, and this guy's an absolute highway robbery at 58th overall talent at pick 128, and he's a bit low on speed, but our corner room is going to be stacked with young talent now. Next up, we swing and miss on outside linebacker Donovan Ward at the end of the 6th round, but that's alright, because we got one more pick at the end of the 7th, where we grab Jermaine Day, who'll be our backup running back for now. I adjust the depth chart and fit in all our new rookies where they belong, and I make a sudden realization. My glorious king, Leo Chanel, is now an X Factor after his monstrous season last year, and I just couldn't be happier. On top of that, I'm going to move him to the Mike position and let him be the signal caller, while moving Devin Powers over to the Sam position, and on top of that, Kevin Coleman Jr. is now a superstar dev player, and Nick McMillan's an X Factor safety too. Happy with the team, we sim forward to the preseason, where we speed through training camp like always, getting some upgrades for key rookies like Jadarius Scott, John Gibson, and Khalil Bolden. And also, Jadarius Scott gets a star dev upgrade from his training, so I'm basically the happiest guy on earth right now. On to the regular season we go, and I'm super excited for this year because we're pursuing the three-peat that we failed to achieve a few years prior, and I don't think I've ever put together a filthier roster of guys in Madden. Skipping forward to week 1, in a Thursday night primetime season opener, we're taking on our rivals, the Buffalo Bills at Arrowhead. The Bills go up early on us as Josh Allen takes one in himself, diving in on 3rd and goal, but we answer right back, hitting Jason Atkinson, aka Mini Puka, on a hitch in the end zone. Josh finds Rashee Rice running across the back of the end zone on a crosser next to take the lead on us once more, but we answer back, finding Jeremiah Love in the flat, and our X-Factor back ties it up again. Our defense manages to cover every blade of grass on 3rd down, and Josh has to throw it away, finally getting us a stop. We get chunk play after chunk play to get us into scoring position, but Buffalo holds up at the 20, forcing us to settle for a Cam Little kick, but we take the lead. James Cook breaks a tackle at the line before taking it in for the score, and Buffalo takes the lead with a minute to go until half, but we don't bat an eyelash as we work our way down the field in no time, setting up Jason Atkinson for a lead-taking touchdown with 5 seconds left in the half, and it's already 24-21. 21. We receive at halftime but make a crucial mistake. Our O-line gets bulldozed on first down and Mahomes gets plowed over in the backfield, fumbling the ball towards our end zone, and Buffalo takes over in prime position, taking the lead once again off a Khalil Shakir score. We answer back in no time, however, as I notice Xavier Worthy one-on-one on the outside, and he burns Benford for a lightning-fast touchdown. Fireworks continue as Buffalo moves downfield with little to no resistance from our defense, and Josh fits another tight window throw to Shakir, scoring on our first-round rookie Jadarius Scott. We work our way down to the goal line again, where Buffalo blitzes and leaves Jason Atkinson wide open in the end zone, and the shootout just won't stop. Rashee Rice catches our defense sleeping next as he comes across on a deep crosser, and our quarters coverage gets shredded, and Buffalo takes the lead again 42-38. Clock's bleeding down on our final drive, and we're forced to get desperate, going for it on 4th and 1 with only 16 seconds remaining. Buffalo brings a big blitz right up the middle, and Mahomes can't get the throw off in time, and we narrowly lose our home opener in an epic shootout to the Bills. Simming ahead to midseason, we're heavily underperforming at 4-3 with a crucial game against the Denver Broncos on our doorstep. Before we get into that though, let's figure out if there's anybody we need to re-sign right now. Kevin Coleman's rookie deal's expiring, and he's well deserving of a contract. His interest level in returning is low, but we get close to getting him to re-sign. I offer J-Rod a new deal as well, but he's also on the fence. And finally, I get a deal done with Josh Simmons to keep him around for 3 more years for a whopping $33 million a year on average. We hop into the game against the Denver Donkeys, and Knicks in the offense manage to drive into field goal range, where we stop him, and Jake Bates misses the 56-yarder. We get in great starting position, but I try an ill-advised deep shot to Worthy, Talanoa Hufanga jumps it, and we give the ball right back to them. The turnover fest just doesn't stop there though, as Knicks throws late to the flat, and Nick McMillan plays it perfectly, picking it for us, and setting us up on Denver's side, where Jeremiah Love takes a halfback stretch around the edge and all the way to the house in one play to put us up 7-0 after the Clown Fiesta to start the game. I sell in coverage against the halfback wheel route next, and the Broncos answer back to tie things up. And the very next play, I chuck it up the seam to Jackson Holman, who catches and fumbles it, with the Donkeys recovering. But thankfully, after review, he was down before the ball came out, and we get to the red zone, and fading away from the line of scrimmage with a guy in his face, Mahomes puts a dart on Holman in the end zone, and we're back up 14-7. The Broncos drive into our red zone again, but this time, Nix tries stepping through the line, and Alex Springs gets a hold of him, jarring the ball free, with Leo Chanel recovering it, and we get it back at our 14. I instantly take a devastating sack, leaving us at the goal line though, and we end up having a punt out of our own end zone, but at least we denied Denver the score earlier. They end up driving it back to our goal line, and I dial up a huge goal line blitz, but the Broncos block it up perfectly, and their back takes it in untouched to tie up the game. Disaster strikes on our next offensive possession, as I try to toss it underneath to Coleman on a crosser, but Denver's linebacker tips it at the line to Tillman, who returns it for another score, and we're down 21-14 now with 4 minutes left in the half. We get a good kick return to set us up at midfield, and I dial up the Connor play, hucking it up the seam to Worthy, and punishing Denver's inverted zone defense for another one-play touchdown to tie things up. Disaster thankfully strikes for Denver, as they hand it up the middle, and our user Jesse Campagnaro hits Stick in the back coming through the gap, and he fumbles it right to Trent McDuffie, and we've got it right back at midfield. We hand it to Love, who goes straight downhill through a crease, and managed to score once again, taking a 28-21 lead right before halftime, where we'll get it back. Josh Connerly Jr. gets a costly holding call, and I'm starting to get Jawan Taylor flashbacks, so I end up benching him for our rookie right tackle Khalil Bolden, and I decide to get extremely aggressive and go for it on 4th and 8, putting it on Coleman on a curl route, and we manage to get the first down. We go right back to Coleman near the goal line and score again, taking a 2-touchdown lead with 4 minutes to go in the third. Denver drives with it, and their back finds a gap at the goal line, cutting into our lead, but on the next drive, we end up matriculating the ball down the field and hand to Love in the red zone, and our stud back beast modes his way through 4 tackles into the end zone, and we're up 42-28 in the fourth quarter. They have to go for it on 4th and goal from our 2, and Trent McDuffie leaves Cortland Sutton sitting all alone in the end zone for some reason, and once again the Broncos have a shot to win the game with another stop. Their offense never sees the ball again, however, as we manage to move the ball consistently, picking up first down after first down, milking the rest of the clock to come away with a W and improve to 5-3 halfway through the season. Well, guys, our reckoning is here, and as we sim ahead past Week 18 to the playoffs, are you kidding me? Our 91 overall team only won 3 games for the rest of the season and went 8-9, missing the playoffs despite Patrick Mahomes having the best season of any quarterback in the league, with almost 5K yards and 45 touchdowns. Really? After looking at all the yearly stats, it seems like our offense was excellent, while our defense just couldn't hold up at all this year, and perhaps trading away Bolton and Karlaftis did us in. We advanced to the Super Bowl, where it's a rematch of Super Bowl 56, with the Bengals taking on the Rams, who win it 24-21, and Jadarius Scott actually wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, giving him another upgrade to his dev trade. All in all, this season was an extreme disappointment, but not all's lost because we've added some key young pieces to our roster, and we're not going anywhere. Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome to Season 5. Last year was a bit of a disappointment after setting our eyes on a potential three-peat, missing the playoffs entirely with a stacked roster, but the only way is forward. So let's go. In the offseason, we have a bunch of important guys facing free agency, including our superstar wide receiver, Kevin Coleman Jr., who rejects our offer, so I franchise tag his ass. Our Mason Thomas's contract is coming up too, but I feel confident enough that we filled his position with young talent, so I'm gonna just let him walk. In addition to this, I slide Josh Connerly Jr. over to guard since we let our starter walk in the offseason, and I'm ready to let our young guy, Khalil Bolden, take over at the right tackle spot. Our defense is coming along nicely with young talent all over the place, but a lot of these guys are coming off their first or second year and need a little bit of time to develop. Let's take a look at who's available in free agency. There's plenty of guys coming off their rookie deals who look promising, but we just don't have much cap room to work with right now, just 11.2 million. We don't really have enough right now to pick up a big time difference maker. Let's just head to the draft. I'm taking a look at prospects and one in particular catches my eye. Bo Rhodes, a 6'5" wideout out of Virginia Tech, boasting insane physical traits and skills. He has A catch in traffic, A release, and runs a blazing 4.37 40. We have pick 11, and that's right around where he's gonna fall, so we'll keep an eye on him for now. Other than that, my goals are to look for offensive line depth and maybe a difference maker at edge rusher, since that's definitely our weakest position at the moment. It's draft time, and the world's our oyster at pick 11, where we're gonna grab Bo Rhodes, aka Chris Collinsworth 2.0. So we'll have a Patrick Mahomes Glazer out on the field and up there calling the game at all times.
This were Patrick Mahomes, we'd be screaming, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes!" I know I would be screaming.
Turns out he's the 8th best player in the draft, and I have a feeling this guy is going to be a total monster for us for the years to come. Next, at round 2, pick 11, nobody I really want's in the area code, but I end up falling in love with tight end William Rodriguez, who just has stupid physical traits for the position, and he ends up being a total steal, worth a first-round talent, and we're going to be running plenty of 2 tight end sets in KC from now on. Round 3, pick 11, the guy who's number 1 on the board is Mac Beckham, safety out of Florida, and color me intrigued. Physically, he looks great, and I decided to just rip it and take him, and I'm at full mast right now because he's also a round 1 talent, and we got him in the 3rd. This guy will probably end up switching to free safety and taking Jesse Campanero's job by the look of things. Our streak of good luck ends in the 4th round, though, as we take corner Bradley Tyson, who seems alright, but he's a bit of a reach, so he'll be backing up our already stacked corner room. In the 5th round, I reach again, grabbing right tackle Will Dunbar, who looks like a long-term depth piece for us, before taking a raw athlete at wide receiver next in Curtis McCollum. The baby-faced receiver boasts an insane physical profile, but has almost no route running or catching skills, so he'll more than likely be our return guy for a while. With our final pick in the draft, I just YOLO drafted defensive tackle Bryson Silver, and he's just a massive swing and a miss he'll probably never see playing time for our team. All in all, I'm really proud of this draft because we managed to take 3 franchise level guys in the first few rounds, so all that's left to do is slot our guys in and move on to training camp, where Bo Rhodes gets 2 upgrades immediately, and we get a dev trade upgrade for linebacker Jacob Rodriguez, who's now a superstar, and on to the regular season we go. The Thursday night primetime game, we're taking on the LA Rams to open the season in their house, and our offense is weighing in at a whopping 97 overall. The Rams have a new X-Factor QB that's replaced Stafford named Ezekiel Crockett, and he leads them on a strong opening drive to go up on us with a field goal, but we answer right back with Bo Rhodes coming over the middle on a tight window throw for the rookie's first NFL touchdown on our opening drive. A few drives later, we widen the lead again with Mahomes finding big old Rhodes in the red zone for a second score, and before you know it, we're in the second half and Jeremiah Love blows by his guy on the perimeter for a score on the go ball, and we're killing the Rams. We trade a few more scores, but the Rams aren't really able to hang with us in the end, and we win the season opener 38-22 over a stacked Rams team. We simmed mid-season, and we're not doing so hot. We're 3-3 as a 93 overall team. I take a look at who we're going to have to pay this year, and we've got a ton of key guys on the docket. X-Factor safety Nick McMillan wants to stay with the team and accepts a relatively team-friendly deal of about $20 million a year to stick around. Kevin Coleman, however, wants about $30 million a year, but I'm a bit hesitant as we just drafted a stud who can potentially replace him in Bo Rhodes, and we have Xavier Worthy at wide receiver 2 still for a bargain. My glorious hunky king Leo Chanel's also up for a new deal. He's starting to become unked, so I offer him a 1-year deal, and he's going to be sticking around for at least another one. Creed Humphrey's deal is coming up again, and he's relatively cheap as a center. Also, he's still a 97 overall at 32 years old, so we'll be keeping him around for about $18 million a year. After all these signings, we're still at $30 million under the cap, and I kind of want to save it and look for some trades for guys who we're not really going to be able to keep around for the long term anyways. First up is Trey Smith, who I end up dishing to Minnesota, along with corner Theo Black for a huge slew of draft picks, including the projected 4th overall pick in the upcoming year. Next up, I prepare myself because we're going to be looking for a trade for Kevin Coleman Jr. He served us more than well over the past few years, but we just don't really have the money to keep him around, and Bo Rhodes is going to be the new wide receiver 1 for this team soon. So I end up packaging Coleman and our punter to bring in a few depth players, including guard Cole Wilkins, who can fill Trey Smith's spot, as well as San Fran's first-round pick, which is projected to be number 10. I may have pulled the rug from under this season on paper, but we have so much draft capital for the future, I think we're going to create an endless dynasty that'll put the Patriots to shame. After I'm done being a trade ape, I take a look at our medical center to find something alarming. Bo Rhodes is out with a multi-week injury, and Mahomes is going to have to just make some magic out there with no wide receiver 1 for a while. God, I hope we make the playoffs this season. Usually I'd play another regular season game and tell you guys what happened, but this time I said fuck it and just YOLO sim to the playoffs, where we actually made it after starting off 3-3 and trading away 2 key players, and we end up 12-5, and we're going to be taking on the Indianapolis Colts in the wild card round. Initially, it looks like a cake matchup on paper, but in reality, it might be pretty tough, as we're going to be missing a ton of guys this week due to injury, including our superstar defensive tackle Alex Springs. Bo Rhodes is coming along nicely at an 85 overall, and Jackson Holman, our stud tight end, is developed into the god king of tight ends at a 99 overall. We hop into the wildcard game against the Colts and defer. Jonathan Taylor backpacks the Colts offense as they have rookie QB Kenny Clement starting for them. They quickly move down the field, and Josh Downs catches a crosser to put them up 7 to start the game. We start off strong with a quick post throw to Bo Rhodes, getting us a big chunk to midfield, but AI Mahomes scrambles into a sack on 3rd down, and Cam Little narrowly misses the field goal, and we turn the ball over to the Colts on our side of the field. My Pookie shoots through on a blitz and sacks Clement on 1st down, but they instantly convert it with a crossing route to Alec Pierce, aka White Lightning. Clement takes a huge sack on 2nd down, and they're left on 3rd and forever, where they set up a screen for Jonathan Taylor, and he gets quite a bit of running room, but not enough for the 1st down, and they boot through the field goal, and we're down 10 in the 1st quarter. Not good. Mahomes gets a big chunk play attack in the middle with Jason Atkinson, and we're on the move. Next, the protection holds up forever, and Mahomes instantly finds backup receiver Keenan Hooks wide open on the corner going out at the 25. Jeremiah Love gets blown up a few times in a row, and suddenly we're facing 3rd and 14, where Mahomes runs around for a while, but nothing materializes, and he goes down well short of the 1st, and Cam Little gets us on the board 10-3. Indy looks like they're moving with ease again, but we actually managed to get a stop as they advance to our side of the field. We force a much needed punt. I decide that I've seen enough acts of terror out of AI Mahomes already, and I'm just going to take matters into my own hands and try to tie this thing up. But there's one tiny problem. I fucking suck. And apparently nobody on this team can catch a 50-50 ball to save their lives. We end up punting, and Indy takes over in premium position again. Clement snipes his guy between our zone coverage and instantly puts them in a scoring position. Josh Downs makes a tough catch through contact to get them to our 11. They hand it off to Jonathan Taylor, and he gashes through our defense like a hot knife through butter, and we're suddenly in massive danger as they go up 17-3 nearing the end of the half. I take over once again, and we get a couple of great runs up the gut by Love to kick things off and get us into Indy territory before methodically working our way into the red zone, and Jeremiah Love breaks a tackle at the goal line, gets us back into the game 10-17 just inside the 2-minute warning. Rookie Kenny Clement loses his composure a bit on the next drive as Indy's offense gets backed up by a penalty, and he just starts trying crazy shit, and our defense holds up, getting us one last possession before the half. We're quickly on 3rd and 10, but I find Atkinson in the flat uncovered, and we get a quick conversion before dinking and dunking and finding our tight end Jackson Holman on our corner route to get us well within field goal range, but I accidentally burn up a bit too much time between the next few plays and have to take a timeout with 2 seconds left, and we settle for 3 with Cam Little, but we cut their lead to 4, 13-17 at halftime. Fast forward, and we're kicking the ball to Indy again. Even though we deferred the opening kickoff. What the fuck, Madden? This game is so ass. Anyways, the Colts quickly go 3-and-out thanks to a clutch Artie McDaniel sack, and we're back in business with a chance to take the lead. I stay in control of the offense, and we quickly get to midfield off a short throw, turning into a big-time run by Holman, who has elite speed for a tight end. I hit him again on an option route slant, and suddenly we're in scoring position in no time. We keep matriculating the ball down the field, and Jeremiah Love gashes the defense for a big gain at the goal line, where we find Bo Rhodes coming across with plenty of separation and go up 20-17, taking our first lead of the game. Indy tries a read option, but Devin Powers sniffs it out, quickly blowing up Clement on the edge for a huge loss, but White Lightning strikes again. Alec Pierce hauls in one on a dig, and they instantly convert. JT runs through a gaping hole to get them into field goal range next, and they keep feeding him, but gets stuck on 3rd and 8, where pressure gets home, and Clement barely gets rid of it, forcing them to settle for a kick, but they miss it, and we're still in the driver's seat. We have a few unsuccessful plays, including me throwing to Keenan Hooks instead of Rhodes on 3rd and 10 like a dummy, and we quickly go 3-and-out, forced to punt it right back to the Colts. They keep feeding Taylor with more success this time, and they end the quarter driving onto our side of the field once again. They just keep pounding the rock nonstop, and we just keep giving up exactly what they need. They work their way inside the 10 and set up a slip screen for their backup running back, Marquise Logan, who hops over Jadarius Scott and into the end zone to wrest away the lead again, 20-24 deep into the 4th quarter. Next drive, we methodically burn up the clock and work our way down to Indy's goal line with less than a minute on the clock. For all the marbles, I look for Atkinson in the flat, but the throw's too far inside and we're lucky it wasn't picked on 1st and goal. On 2nd, they bring an all-out blitz, and I take a devastating sack that leaves us on 3rd and goal from the 11, where I scheme open Jeremiah Love in the flat, and he has just enough speed to round the edge and push through the safety to put us up 27-24 with 17 seconds left on the clock. Clement wastes a ton of time on 1st down, but our stud corner Jadarius Scott is struggling this game, giving up a pass interference, and they've got a good chance of tying up the game now. They run a quick inside zone for a few more yards, and their kicker comes out and bangs through the game-tying kick, and we're more than likely going to overtime versus a 9-8 team with rookie QB at the helm. Psych, bitch! I bust out the Connor play with 1 second left, and we huck it up the seam to Bo Rhodes, who burns his man, and Rhodes flips his way into the end zone, and we take the dub 33-27 to advance to the divisional round. Next up, we're taking on the Cleveland Browns in their house, and they've built themselves a strong roster with a 99 overall quarterback from Alabama, Owen Larson, at the helm. We defer like always, and the Browns receive. They start moving the ball, picking up a 1st down, but on 3rd and 7, Larson tries to get a little too much white boy motion going, and my glorious king, Leo Chanel, takes his damn head off, and Quan Martin scoops and scores it, putting us up 7-0 on Cleveland's opening drive. The Browns quickly find themselves on 3rd and long, and Larson tries scrambling again, but John Gibson catches him from the edge, and they have to punt it to us for our first offensive possession. Mahomes gay jogs onto the field, and it looks like he's had a pretty good regular season, but nowhere near his ceiling given his past standard. We start easing our way forward until we're on Cleveland's side of the field, and Mahomes flicks a wicked crossbody throw on a PA seam for Bo Rhodes, and we're knocking on the door to go up 2 scores. On 3rd and goal, facing heavy pressure, Mahomes gets it away to Love on a screen, and the back tumbles over defenders, and we're up 14-0 to start the game. Skipping forward a few drives, Mahomes goes back to him on a dig in the end zone, and we're killing the Browns 24-0 before halftime. So I just decide to quick sim the rest of the game, and we win it in an absolute blowout, 37-7. And after another rebuilding year, we're right back in the AFC Championship. It turns out we've been on the road throughout the playoffs because the Las Vegas Raiders actually beat us out for the division by a single game, and they're up next, led by Fernando Mendoza, and I'm just happy to see the Raiders-Chiefs rivalry back again after so many years of mediocrity from them. Raiders receive, and Mendoza's stats for the year are pretty lackluster, all things considered. In the original 2026 draft, they also picked up Jordan Tyson, who picks them up a quick 1st down. They keep hitting on intermediate shots, including a big one to Brock Bowers, and they're on our side of the field in no time. John Gibson gets a big sack next, though, and Las Vegas is able to get close but not quite convert. They end up settling for a kick, taking a 3-0 lead. Our offense gets things going with a couple of big-time runs by Jeremiah Love getting us near the red zone, but AI Mahomes goes back to his old ways, taking a devastating sack on 3rd down, and Cam Little ties it up for now. The Raiders quickly find themselves on 3rd and 10, and Mendoza goes deep for Jack Besh down the sideline, but Jacob Rodriguez is with him stride for stride. and we force a punt to get it right back. We work our way into Raider territory, and from their 39, Mahomes rips it to Holman on the curl route. He shrugs off a defender, barrels over another, and hits the Jets to put us up 10-3 on the stinking Raiders near the end of the first quarter. Our defense holds strong again, forcing a 3-and-out after Mendoza steps up and hucks a jump ball down the sideline for Ashton Jeanty, who's outmatched in coverage by Quan Martin. We've got a chance to widen our lead some more. We start to feed Love for a ton of ground and pound yardage over and over again, and before you know it, we're in field goal range. Love rips off another big run, and a few plays go nowhere, leaving us on 4th and 3, where we make a huge nutsack decision to go for it, and Mahomes jets it out to Torrey Horton in the flat, and the big-bodied guy hauls it in through contact, and we keep the drive going. The very next play, we hand it off to Love, and he follows some great blocking up front, going untouched into the end zone, and we're up 17-3. By this point, Vegas's offense has gone completely into neutral, and they go 3-and-out again, punting back to us with plenty of time left in the half. On 3rd and 6 with Max Crosby bearing down on him, Mahomes fits it into a tight window for Horton again, who's coming up huge for us in this game so far, and they send a blitz on 3rd and 6, and nobody picks it up. Mahomes gets sacked, and we're forced to settle for a Cam Little kick that puts us up 20-3 right before halftime. With very little time left, the Raiders get a measure of revenge as they quickly dink and dunk using their timeouts to get to the goal line, and Mendoza puts it on Besh coming over the middle on a shallow crosser, and they cut into our lead right before half, 20-10. We receive to start the second half, and patiently move the ball into Cam's range where the Raiders eventually stop us, and Little drills it through to put us up 23-10. The Raiders go 3-and-out again, and we get it back at our 29, where Jeremiah Love gets a huge running lane, but Max Crosby hit sticks the shit out of him, and he fumbles, with the Raiders diving on it to set Mendoza and the offense up nicely at our 36. Our defense looks like they're going to hold strong, leaving the Raiders on 3rd and 12, but Mendoza finds Besh in the flat, and Jacob Rodriguez ends up pulling him past the line to gain for a first down before getting injured on the next play tackling Ashton Jeanty. A few plays later, Mendoza fires to Jordan Tyson, who catches it, and the ball barely crosses the plane, and in only a few minutes of play, the Raiders have turned a potential blowout into a bit of a heart pounder, 23-17. Our offense starts driving again, and Jeremiah Love redeems himself with a big-time run, taking the outside handoff and blazing into the secondary, juking a safety out of his socks and going out at Vegas's 26. We're in danger on 3rd and 6 a few plays later, and pressure comes up the middle in a hurry as Mahomes gets folded for a sack, and Cam Little's the only one scoring points for us so far in the second half, putting us up 26-17 in the closing minutes of the third quarter. On the Raiders' next drive, we call a blitz to protect the edges, but leave the middle of the field wide open for Jeanty to sprint through. With a full head of steam, he plows through McMillan with enough momentum to keep it going and complete a mad dash to the end zone. And suddenly, the Raiders are a field goal away from taking the lead with a quarter to go. Our offense immediately goes 3-and-out, following an AI Mahomes classic on 3rd down. I'm starting to get real nervous as we punt it away to the Raiders in the 4th quarter. We start out near midfield and quickly get into the red zone on a crucial 3rd and 12 that would have ended in a stop. Jadarius Scott gets called for an offsides that gives Las Vegas another chance, and with that chance, they cash out big time, with Mendoza firing into a pinhole tight window for Jordan Tyson, who secures it between two defenders. We're going to need a touchdown with only 4 minutes left on the clock in order to come away with a win, so I'm stepping in. I decide that we're going to feed Jeremiah Love to kick things off because I want to burn up the rest of the clock on this possession, because ideally we want to score and leave Vegas with no time to put a drive together. We start off strong with 2 huge rushes of 10 plus yards where our star back makes guys miss, and we've already burned up a few minutes. I hit Atkinson on a shallow crosser next and hand it off for a short gain, and we take it down to the 2-minute warning. We got a little less than 30 yards to go and plenty of time to do so, but on the next Jeremiah Love rushing attempt, we get stuffed and our star guy is worn down. The game's going to come down to the next play, so I dial up a play that'll get a ton of rub and potentially get someone open. And with a man in Mahomes' face, he gets the throw away, hitting Atkinson and keeping us alive for now. There's a minute left and we're left on 3rd and long again. I decide that Curls gets the girls, so we hit Horton on a short hitch over the middle, and he gets some rack to secure us the first down. 20 seconds left, we hit Jackson Holman on a crosser to get us down to the 2, take our first time out. We're near the goal line and have plenty of chances left, so I'm going to try a look for Jason Atkinson, and he finds a soft spot in the zone immediately. With 17 seconds left, we take the lead again, 32-31, and we go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. Horton rewards us with another catch through contact, and now, realistically, the best the Raiders are probably going to be able to do is tie up the game and send it to OT if our defense sells. Which they do. Almost immediately, Mendoza finds a guy up the seam and in no time they're in field goal range. And they make it, leaving us with 4 seconds left, and I'm high-key pissed. I decide to try the Connor play, chucking it to Torrey Horton on the slot fade, and it doesn't work, so we're going to overtime. We opt to kick to the Raiders and let them have it go first, and our defense rallies, making 2 quick tackles on 1st and 2nd down, but on 3rd and 7, they set up a screen for Genty, and it works to perfection, netting them a quick 1st down. Another 3rd down arises, and I use Jacob Rodriguez to perfection, jumping the route that Mendoza wants, but he has linebacker hands and drops the pick, but Vegas decides to punt, and now we have a chance to win the game with a field goal. I start the drive off with a handoff to Love, and he seemingly gets injured, so we might not have him for the next few plays or the whole drive. Next, the Raiders called perfect coverage, but Atkinson outruns it on the PA shot as Mahomes rolls right, buying enough time to make the throw. Getting into the gun next, we quickly find Atkinson over the middle to get us to the edge of Cam Little's range. I want to get as close as possible to make this a chip shot for him, so we run some risk-averse plays and grind out a couple 1st downs that get us inside the 5. We hand it up the gut to Trevor Etienne on a trap play. He weaves his way into the end zone, and bye-bye Raiders. We're headed back to the Super Bowl after an epic AFC Championship game. We sim ahead to Super Bowl week, and we've got a rematch with Super Bowl 62, where Jackson Dart and the New York Giants are going to have a chance at revenge. Patrick Mahomes wins another MVP to add to the resume, and Bo Rhodes wins Offensive Player of the Year despite missing significant time due to injury. What a beast. Anyway, enough glazing. Let's get into Super Bowl 65. We're taking on the Giants in AT&T Stadium, and we defer the opening kickoff, letting Dart and the Giants offense go first. The Giants pick up a 1st down on their opening drive, but our defenders are flying all over the field making tackles, and our bookend rushers clap Dart on 3rd down, and we force him to punt. We kick off our opening drive with a banger run by Jeremiah Love to quickly get us into enemy territory. Bo Rhodes catches a quick flat and gets us to the red zone, and Atkinson gets us inside the 10, but Kayvon Thibodeau slips past Josh Simmons on 2nd down, sacking Mahomes on 3rd, and AI Mahomes does his signature move. We end up unable to get into the end zone, settling for 3, but taking the lead early. Our defense gives up a few big plays and the Giants are on the move. But John Gibson comes up with a big-time sack to leave them on 3rd and 21, where they try a pitiful screen that gets blown up, and we're getting the ball back with a chance to grow our lead. We march down the field again in no time, and Mahomes checks it down to Love, who spins out of a tackle and makes it into the end zone, and we're up 10-0 in the 2nd quarter. The Giants offense still can't get anything going. Jadarius Scott breaks up the throw on 3rd down, and once again they're punting to us, and this time we might have a chance to put this thing out of range. We started our own 18, but a quick throw to Torrey Horton on the end route turns into a big-time run after catch, and we're near midfield in the blink of an eye. We pick up another 1st down, but AI Mahomes starts practicing his signature move as he stands in the pocket oblivious for 5 seconds straight until Sexy Dexy just runs him over. We recover quickly though, with Mahomes fitting it into a tight window for Holman, who gets almost all what we need back, and on 3rd and 1 Mahomes hits Torrey Horton on a quick hitch to keep it going. The Giants hold up once again, stopping us on 3rd down. With our lead at 10 points already, we decide to just settle for 3 points to go up 13-0. The Giants get it back inside the 2-minute warning and are moving the ball effectively, but Dart takes a huge sack that backs them up out of our territory. We manage to get a big-time stop, get it back with a little over a minute left. Pick up a few 1st downs, taking a few timeouts each time, but disaster strikes on 2nd and 3 nearing field goal range when AI Mahomes commits an act of terror, standing obliviously until Abdul Carter gets free and strips the ball with New York recovering already in range. The Giants move the ball a bit, but ultimately we hold them out of the end zone with a few seconds left on the clock, and they boot through a field goal to end the half 13-3. We receive at half, and our speedy return guy, Antoine Walker, splits the defenders and gets rolling down the sideline to set us up pretty all the way down at New York 16 to start the half. Mahomes hits Holman scurry into the flat, and he gets north inside the Giants 2, but we immediately give up a sack on the next play, push back all the way to the 11, and Abdul Carter's wrecking us up front. They bring a big blitz on 3rd down, and Mahomes doesn't pull the trigger once again, and he's overwhelmed for another sack, and Cam Little comes out to put us up 16-3. Dart starts picking us apart on defense with some quick throws and scrambles, and they've seemingly found something. As Wandale Robinson gets him into our red zone on another play-action catch, Dart takes a sack, backing them up to our 20, setting up 3rd and 8, where Leo Gilchrist bulldozes his guy and manages to get home too, and the Giants' promising drive comes to an end with a field goal 16-6. Pocket's collapsing on Mahomes, but he stands in strong and delivers to Bo Rhodes over the middle, and our big-bodied wideout shifts gears and outruns everybody for the full length of the field for a one-play touchdown, and we're suddenly killing the Giants again 23-6 nearing the end of the 3rd quarter. The Giants get it back, and it's now or never, as Malik Neighbors shrugs off 2 tackles like a beast, picking up a quick 1st down. They keep driving and are steadily picking up 1st down after 1st down until they're knocking on our door at the 5, where we send a big blitz, and my big hunky Sigma, Leo Chanel, slips through and blasts Dart, who fumbles it, and J-Rod recovers it to get our offense back the ball at our 19. Will Rodriguez, our backup tight end, comes wide ass open on the next play action, running over a guy and moving down the sideline for a massive gain, and we're in position to score again in a matter of seconds. We steadily work our way down to the 4-yard line, and Mahomes audibles into an outside run that works spectacularly, with Love coming around the edge untouched, and we go up 30-6. The game's all but over with 3.5 minutes left. The Giants take a ton of time to work down the field again, managing to score a garbage time touchdown with Wan'Dale Robinson coming across on a slant. They get the 2-point conversion with Malik Neighbors in the flat, but they're going to need a miracle with only 30 seconds left on the clock, and it doesn't materialize with Bradley Tyson recovering it. We bring justice to the world, beating Big Jeffy East Giants 30-14, and we're getting pretty damn close to our goal. Mahomes winning his 6th ring, and we're only 1 ring away from tying Brady all time, and 2 away from our ultimate goal. Welcome to Season 6. Last year, we won Super Bowl 65 over the New York Giants, and Patrick Mahomes officially has to start using his second hand to hold his rings because he's got 6 so far. We're 2 off our original goal, but he's turning 36 this year, and the clock is ticking down on his remaining career. Will we be able to get him his 7th this year? We'll see. We're headed into free agency with about $23 million in cap room, and we really need to address the O-line as we just dropped Josh Connerly Jr., and I make a big splash signing Alec Phillips, who's going to be our new left guard. I checked to see if we can make his number 6-7, but somebody else buried in the depth chart's already wearing it, so I'm a little sad. Taking a look at our offense, it's still unbelievable, and we have almost no holes on this side of the ball. While on defense it's just about the same, but our D-line is extremely young and just needs a bit more time to develop as a unit. Heading into the draft, I'm just going to be looking for the best players available and take guys who have playing potential for us in the future, but be depth pieces for us right now. We're on the clock at pick 14, and if you remember from last year, I made some crazy trades, so we have 3 first-round picks this year, although they aren't as high as they were initially.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
First up, I love the look of a couple of receivers that have fallen to us in the first round. Nick Dempsey and Dion Dean look like great prospects that could fill out our receiving room. I decided to take Dempsey first, and he's an A-plus pick, ranked 11 in true value, and he's got 97 speed and is going to be a human joystick for us in the slot. Back on the clock again at 16, I decide we're also going to take the bigger bodied Dion Dean, and he's even more of a steal at 9th overall in the draft class, boasting a wild 98 speed and 96 acceleration. And while both these guys have normal dev, they might work their way into our starting lineup and cause me to make some moves at the receiver position. Next up at 32, nobody in my favorites is around the area code, and the corner that I wanted just went to the Fins at 23, so I decided to just rip a fully scouted player in Jordan Hill at defensive tackle, who has round 1 talent and will be a great addition to our defensive interior. Moving forward at the bottom of the second, I decided that we're taking another fully scouted defensive tackle in Derek Richards, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but these guys just kind of grow on trees in Madden currently. He ends up being a steal too, and our D-line is going to be crazy competitive this year. Guys, you'll never guess what we do in the 3rd round, but once again, I decided to go with another known commodity in defensive tackle, grabbing Perry Crawford, who's another highway robbery with hidden dev. At this point, we're going to have to convert one of these guys to an edge rusher or something, because I want to maximize all these guys' usage. Next, we rip halfback Derek McLeod out of ISU, and he's going to be the first reach of our draft in round 4. But he's got a nice combination of speed and acceleration. I draft a big corner next to play opposite of Jadarius Scott in the perimeter, but Max Royster looks like another reach who lacks top end speed to play effectively on our defense. We pick up a potential bust next with Gabe Dickinson from Virginia Tech, but he's got hidden dev, so maybe we'll stash him away and, see how he develops. Picking again at the bottom of the 6th, I grab Mike Barton to be our backup safety, as his physical profile looks nasty, and to cap it all off at the bottom of the 7th, we take Nick Dempsey's teammate out of LSU, Clyde Thomas, who's apparently a steal for where we drafted him, and that's going to do it for us in the 2031 draft. I take a look at who's going to need a new contract this year, and Mahomes is going to have to get paid again, so it's a good thing we just drafted well, because there are definitely going to be cap casualties this year. I decided to get ahead early, and we're going to start off by dishing Xavier Worthy to the Browns for a 1st and 3rd rounder. Next up, I start shopping around Jason Atkinson, who it's going to hurt to trade, but we're going to lose him after this season anyways, and we end up finding him a new home in the city of brotherly love for a 1st and 2nd rounder. We quickly go through training camp as always, and we are off to the regular season, where we're going to be kicking things off with a rematch from the AFC Championship game versus the Raiders in our house this time. It's rocking an Arrowhead and everybody's tomahawk chopping, but the Raiders work their way down the field in a hurry and put themselves up with a field goal to start the game. We trade punts with them before getting another shot at it and letting Holman cook in the red zone on a beautiful double move for the score to take the lead. And we're starting to pick them apart again until we go for it on 4th down, and our rookie Deon Dean can't hang on to the hospital ball, and we turn it over to the Raiders, who look like they're going to score, but Mendoza makes a quick throw to Troy Franklin, who stupidly reaches forward despite being past the line to gain already, and they turn it over to us in a crucial moment. We pick apart their defense to get to the red zone, where Mahomes hits rookie Deon Dean on a quick post. He's tackled in the end zone to tally his first NFL touchdown and put us up 14-3 halfway through the second quarter. Our line keeps harassing Mendoza, and he can't get anything going while we march our way down the field again, this time hitting Bo Rhodes cooking on a slant, and we're killing the Raiders 21-3 before halftime. The Raiders are never really able to make it back into the game, and we end up wiping the floor with them 42-17, a great way to kick off the season. Simming ahead to mid-season, we're 5-1, absolutely killing it, and I reluctantly take a look to see who needs to get paid, and we're going to pay Mahomes a whopping $75 million a year average contract, which on paper looks insane, but he's probably going to retire before his cap hit starts hitting astronomical levels anyways. Next up, we need to get a new deal done with Holman, who we get to settle for a team-friendly deal of about $20 million a year, and after that, almost everybody else is on the trade block or going to be a cap casualty. With so many wins already on the board, I decided to just sim ahead to the playoffs, where we finished the season 13-4 as the 2 seed, and we're going to be taking on Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round, and I've just got one thing to say.
Fuck you, Baltimore! You can kiss my ass!
We hop into the playoff game, and the Ravens have a potent new weapon at running back, an X-Factor, Pierre Jarrett, who kicks things off with a strong run. They trickle down the field to our 32, where Jarrett goes in motion and flies by Nick McMillan in coverage, and the young buck cashes in, striking early and putting them up 7. We answer right back though, with Mahomes getting under center, handing to Jeremiah Love, who gets skinny, hits the Jets, and takes it in to tie things up 7-7. Pocket starts collapsing on Lamar next, but he sneaks out of it and gets rolling down the sideline into our red zone before Leo stamps him. They look like they're going to score, but my sexy king hammers Pierre Jarrett. We recover the fumble and get Mahomes the ball back at our 6. We get rolling, working our way all the way to the goal line, where Love pushes a pile of dudes into the end zone for his second rushing touchdown. We go up 14-7 with a few minutes left in the half. Baltimore quickly goes 3 and out, and we move the ball a bit, but ultimately come up short, getting stopped at the 18, where Cam Little boots it through to give us a 2-score lead with a minute left on the clock. Baltimore makes effective use of their timeouts, driving the length of the field, setting themselves up to score, but they can't get into the end zone and settle for a kick of their own, and it's 10-17 at half. Starting with the ball in the second half, we easily march downfield, but AI Mahomes does his signature move on 3rd and goal, and we settle with a Cam Little kick to widen our lead 20-10. Ravens are quickly in danger of going 3 and out, and on 3rd and 6, Trent McDuffie... Sorry. I just get sad thinking about him. He jumps the curl route and hauls it all the way near the goal line before Lamar can shove him out. On a huge nutsack call, we go for it on 4th and goal from the 2, and Mahomes finds Love standing open the end zone for his 3rd touchdown of the game, and the Ravens are going to have to find something soon if they want a shred of a chance to win this game. They end up just driving the length of the field again, off the back of some solid throws by Lamar, but we make a stand at our 5, where they're forced to go for it on 4th down, and McDuffie runs the route for his guy and picks off Lamar in the end zone, and I fast sim to the end, but we come out on top 27-10 in a dominant win over the Baltimore Ravens.
Fuck you, Baltimore!
Next up, we're going against the Miami Dolphins, who finished the season 10-7 and are starting their young QB, Will Townsend, who can't get anything going on their opening drive. We force a punt. Deon Dean gets a big-time catch and run to get us into their territory, where Mahomes makes the craziest no-look throw I've seen him make in Madden so far. And Nick Dempsey takes the bubble screen to the crib to put us up 7-0 early. Dolphins matriculate the ball down the field, and Townsend eventually finds big body Denzel Boston on the crosser, and he scores to tie things up. AI Mahomes stands in and gets overwhelmed on 3rd and long. We're punting right back to the Dolphins, who push deep into our side of the field this time with their new wide receiver Peter Roper. Sorry, that name's just kind of funny to me. Okay, anyways, taking a bubble screen to our goal line, with Devon Achane finishing the job, and the Dolphins take the lead 14-7 nearing the end of 1. We're on the move again with Jeremiah Love taking a slip screen past midfield in a hurry, and before you know it, we're at the goal line ourselves, with Jackson Holman sprinting to the flat and taking it in to give us an opportunity to tie it up again, but on the PAT, the Dolphins manage to block it, and they're going to stay on top 14-3 for now. Yikes. They get the ball back, and we're putting the wood on Townsend, with John Gibson sacking him, leaving their offense on 3rd and 18, but Townsend capitalizes on some coverage confusion as our guys take each other out of the play, and Ricky Pearsall gets rolling for the first down and more before we're able to take him down, and they seemingly move with ease, but McMillan makes a great tackle, forcing them to go for it on 4th and 1 where they easily pick it up, but Townsend takes 2 devastating sacks in a row, and they have to settle for a kick, going up 17-13 right before halftime. I decide to step in here to see if I can get us a last-second score to maybe take the lead, and we're able to quickly get into Cam Little's range, but I notice one of their corners has CTE and scheme up Dion Dean on a go ball to get us the lead at halftime, 20-17. We receive at half and work our way down to Miami's 5, where we handed up the gut to our backup rookie running back, Derek McLeod, and he waltzes in untouched, and we widen our lead to 10 to start the half. The Finns get the ball back, and Townsend makes a rookie mistake, popping it over the middle to a lurking Jacob Rodriguez, and our offense is set up nicely at their 35. A few plays later, Bo Rhodes goes down with an injury after blocking for Dion Dean after the catch, and we're going to have to hope somebody can step up. And Jackson Holman reports for duty, getting wide open on his way to the corner, and he takes it in to put us up 34-17, and we've managed to double Miami's score in no time. Our defense tosses Achane around like a rag doll on the next drive, bulldozing him for a big TFL, and then Mac Beckham hit sticks the shit out of him, jarring the ball free, and Alex Springs gets a big man touchdown on the scoop and score, and it's 41-17 in the blink of an eye. You'll never believe this though. On the very next play, they try the same screen again. Mac Beckham comes downhill, hammering Achane, and he fumbles again, with Beckham recovering this time at their 30. And with that, I'm just ready to quick sim the rest of the game, which I do, and we dumpster the Miami Dolphins 55-24, and we're going back to the AFC Championship for the 2nd year in a row. It's another AFC Championship appearance, and another AFC West rivalry matchup as we're taking on the 6th seed Chargers this time, and they start things off with a first down or 2, but we come up with a stop near midfield and force a punt. Mahomes rolls out and scrambles for a first down to start things off for us, and we start driving the length of the field, but the Chargers force us to go for it on 4th down from the 19, where Mahomes play fakes and turns into fucking Superman, spinning out of a sack and taking it himself, diving straight over a defender at the goal line for the score, and we're up 7-0 just like that. Herbert and the Chargers get it back and find Xavier Legette going to the corner to get them onto our side of the field, but our defense holds strong on 3rd and 11, and we force a kick out of them, with Dicker cutting into our lead 3-7. We dink and dunk our way onto their side of the field, where the Chargers manage to stop us on 3rd and short at their 20, and we get a little conservative, booting one through with Cam Little, and we're up 10-3 early in the 2nd. Herbert and the Chargers offense go 3 and out, and our offense is back on the move again. We find ourselves in the red zone where AI Mahomes tosses up a dot for Jackson Holman in the corner of the end zone, and we're up 17-3 now with a few minutes left in the half. The Chargers start to find something though as they start picking up first downs consistently and end up in our red zone, but we hold them out at the 2, and they take the points with Dicker putting it through to make it 6-17 at halftime. We get stopped near midfield on our first drive of the 2nd half, and they're able to capitalize, working their way down the field to the goal line, where their back Donovan Hawkins punches it in, and they unsuccessfully go for a 2-point conversion, so the score is 12-17, and our lead isn't so great anymore. We push the ball back onto their side, where Jeremiah Love gets injured after getting tackled, and on the very next play, we hand it to our fullback Briggs, who fumbles it, and the Chargers recover with a chance to take the lead now. Thankfully, our defense does their job though, refusing to budge a single inch and forcing Herbie to throw it away on 3rd and long, and luckily we've got Jeremiah Love back on the field, who instantly rounds the edge of LA's defense and gashes them with a big-time run. A few plays later, Nick Dempsey comes wide open over the middle on a slant, and our white boy gets a little motion, widening our lead 24-12 in the 4th quarter. Chargers get to our red zone again, but on 4th and 3 for all the marbles, the rookie Jordan Hill comes free and sacks Herbert, getting us back the ball. We burn up a ton of time, and the Chargers get it back with 4 seconds left. Herbert makes a desperate heave, and it's broken up, and we're going back to another Super Bowl, looking for the repeat off of this blessed Super Bowl run so far. It's almost time for Super Bowl 66, where we're going to be taking on the LA Rams, who have a stacked and overhauled roster. Just curious, I take a look at who they've got, and they've got the filthiest wide receiver room in the league. 299 overalls and Puka Nacua and Juan Peralta, along with... what the fuck? Nick Harbor, who has 99 speed, 97 acceleration, and is built like Calvin Johnson at 6'5", 235 pounds. Oh yeah, and by the way, they're led by 95 overall QB Ezekiel Crockett, so we're going to have our work cut out for us on this one. We hop into Super Bowl 66 in Atlanta, and Crockett starts things off with a scramble around the edge where Leo stamps the hell out of him after the gain of 10. They keep consistently picking apart our defense until our edge rushers get loose, catching Crockett for a big-time sack of 10 yards, and they get to him again on the next play as he steps into Alex Springs, fumbling the ball towards his own end zone, and John Gibson scoops it, taking it all the way to the house to put us up 7-0 on LA's opening drive. They get the ball back, and Crockett's wavering because on the next drive, he rushes the throw and chucks it right to who else but John motherfucking Gibson, who picks it off, getting us the ball at our 22. We pick up first down after first down until we're knocking on the door, and Mahomes finds Nick Dempsey on the 2nd and goal, flicking it to him between 2 defenders for the score, and we're up 14-0 on the Rams to start the game. McDuffie breaks up Crockett's throw on 3rd down, and they're punting back to us again, but this time, Love gets trucked trying to find a crease, and our former draft pick Grayson Halton comes up with the ball on our 20, and now we need our defense to hold up again. We quickly get them to 3rd and 2, where Crockett is reluctant to throw the ball, and John Gibson catches him from behind. Holy shit, this guy's gonna win Super Bowl MVP at this rate. LA takes their 3, and we get it back. On 2nd and 4, disaster strikes for us as Jared Verse jumps the wide receiver screen, wrecking the play and tipping it to himself, and he picks it off at our 32, and the Rams are going to have a good chance to get themselves back in this thing. Kyron Williams instantly rips off a big run to get into our red zone before we hold them to 4th and 3, where they take the 3 again, making it 6-14 in the 2nd quarter. Next drive, we set up a screen for Holman, but it gets blown up, but on the next play, we get some redemption as Mahomes fires to him up the seam, and he blazes by the safeties, skipping into the red zone, and we're up 21-6 in the blink of an eye, and I'm feeling pretty confident so far in this one. Crockett and the Rams immediately go 3 and out, following a nice pass breakup by Jacob Rodriguez, but we end up roughing the punter, so they get bailed out. And on 3rd and 3, their back cooks Leo on the angle route, and he gets moving deep into our territory. Next play, Crockett steps up and fires one for Puka in the end zone, and he comes up with it for the score, and they cut into our lead 13-21 inside the 2-minute warning. Our offense manages to work our way into the red zone before halftime, and we're knocking on the door, where Jeremiah Love follows the fullback, barreling over defenders in the end zone, and we've just scored 28 points in the first half of this Super Bowl. The Rams try a Hail Mary that gets picked off by Tyson in the end zone, and that's going to do it for half number 1. We receive and march our way down to LA's side of the field, where Love picks up some big-time yardage on the slip screen, but we have to go for it on 4th and 1, where Mahomes fakes to Love, slips around the edge, taking it all the way in for the score, and now we are killing the Rams 35-13 early in the second half. They're able to match our previous score with Crockett hitting Mike Hagens on a slant at the goal line, but failed the 2-point conversion that follows. The score stays 19-35 nearing the end of the 3rd quarter. We end up punting to the Rams, who start driving again, but big game John Gibson gets home to Crockett again, forcing them to try a crazy 4th and 13 play where Crockett just puts up a jump ball for Puka, who actually manages to catch it in the end zone, but only gets 1 foot in bounds, and they turn it over to us at the 23. We get into clock burning mode, feeding Jeremiah Love a ton of carries, and before you know it, we're knocking on the door again with a chance to put this thing away for good, and that's just what we do. As Mahomes puts a contested dart on Jackson Holman, who's able to clamp it to the score, and we're up 42-19 on them with only a few minutes left. The Rams manage to get one more garbage time score, with Crockett firing to Nick Harbor standing in the end zone to make the score a little bit more respectable, along with a 2-point conversion that makes it 27-42, and Sean McVay has to scold his guys for playing duck duck goose in the end zone while they're losing in the Super Bowl. They need a miracle and an onside kick, but get neither as Deion Dean secures the kick, and we get in victory formation as we come out on top in Super Bowl 66, getting Mahomes his 7th ring in year 16, tying Brady for all-time championships, and we only need one more to finish the job and make Pat the undisputed GOAT. Last season, we pulled off a repeat in Super Bowl 66, and now we've got another chance to complete a three-peat, and more importantly, get Mahomes his 8th ring, which would make him the undisputed GOAT. We head into free agency with a small chunk of change, and our offense still looks elite with our only normal dev player being guard Brock Wynn, and our defense still looks pretty good too, although we have a few holes now that we let go of Leo Chanel and Trent McDuffie. Just like real life. If you guys remember from last time, this one's going to be a super fun draft as I got a bunch of early draft picks from trades in the last season, so let's hop right in and see who we get. In round 1, we have pick number 6, and with it, We're going to take our cornerback of the future, Wake Forest's Jalen Richard, who's the number 6 overall talent and has hidden dev, along with great physical traits to round it all out. Next up at pick 22, we're ripping Notre Dame edge rusher Ashton Ferguson, who looks like a bit of a reach, but he's got hidden dev, and is probably going to see plenty of playing time for us. With our third first-round pick, we'll be taking another edge rusher who I've had my eye on, Bryce Myers, who's also got hidden dev, and we're going to have a competition at this position during the preseason. Next, at round 2, pick 22, nobody I have scouted is nearby, so we take Ashton Ferguson's teammate and Reggie Dent, a linebacker with just stupid speed and mobility, and he ends up being a bit raw, so he'll need some time to develop. At the bottom of this round, we take another linebacker, Billy Patterson out of Texas, and he looks impressive physically too, but with better all-around skills to boot, not to mention hidden dev, so this guy might start for us sooner than later. Next up, we take a chance on speedy receiving back Jarek Adams, and the guy's a total steal with hidden dev, probably a first or second round talent who we got in the third. After that, I grab another depth piece to help round out the D-line, picking up Matthew Stanley out of Mizzou, and we go to round 4. We take a big swing and miss next on tight end Luis Mendoza, who's probably a bust, before picking up another corner for depth in Villavario Wright. Another round goes by and we're drafting another corner, Eric DeBose out of NC State, who looks crazy physically and ends up being another steal, boasting great size and athleticism. At the bottom of round 6, we take another highway robbery and defensive tackle Jackson Nelson, who's around a round 3 talent overall, and we finish the draft off by just ripping a receiver in Peter Alexander, who has a good 40 time but no real receiving skills, so he'll probably just be returning kicks for us. Off we go to the regular season, where I just decided to sim ahead to mid-season, and we're killing it so far at 5-2. We're going to be taking on the Atlanta Falcons for our mid-season game, so let's hop right into it because I can't wait to see what our revamped team is made of. The Falcons have a new QB, Jamal Witherspoon, who makes a big-time play to Kyle Pitts to set them up in our red zone, where our defense makes a stand and they're forced to settle for 3 on their opening drive. On our first play from scrimmage, we give Jeremiah Love a simple hand up the gut, and he gets skinny through the gap and gets absolutely free into the open field, taking it all the way and flipping into the end zone to put us up 7-3 in a hurry. The Falcons fail to convert after crossing midfield next, and we methodically work our way down the field, but we're stopped as Mahomes gets stripped for a huge sack, and we're lucky to get the ball back and settle for 3, going up 10-3. The Falcons are on the move again, but on third down, Witherspoon puts up an ill-advised YOLO ball, and Demarius Harris ends up picking it off, getting us the ball back with a touchback. We quickly get to their red zone with a deep shot to Nick Dempsey on the post, and go back to him again on the next play, crossing the middle wide open for the score to go up 17-3 on Atlanta. From there, Jamal Witherspoon dives into the end zone on a crazy scramble to cut into our lead, but we're able to answer back, finding big-bodied Bo Rhodes coming across the field for another score to go up by 17. Their backup running back finds pay dirt next, and they cut our lead down to 10, but we hit Deon Dean in the corner of the end zone to effectively put the game away, coming away with a win 24-34, and now we're 6-2 halfway through the season. We sim ahead to the playoffs, and we finished the season a hair weaker than we started. We went 11-6, and we're going to be taking on the Jacksonville Jags in the wild card round this year in their house. And they've got the #1 rushing attack in the league, tallying about 129 yards per game on the ground. So let's see how it goes. We hop into the wild card game, and Prince Charming takes the field for the Jags opening drive, where he instantly makes an insane throw on the run to put it on BTJ between 3 defenders, and I'm already nervous. They quickly work their way to our end of the field, and their X-Factor back gets stuffed at our 20, and I make a sudden realization. They've got Pierre Jarrett, the running back from the Ravens who we faced last year. They get inside our 10, but John Gibson forces Lawrence to throw it away on 3rd and goal. They settle for a kick to go up 3-0 to start the game. Hermit takes the field next, and he's put up an impressive season so far. Let's see if he can keep it going. On 2nd and 1, with the pocket collapsing around him, Mahomes throws late to the flat, and it's nailed. A few plays later, Lawrence rolls out on a boot and sticks a dart on Brian Thomas, and just like that, we're down 10-0 in the first quarter. Hopefully no more AI Mahomes acts of terror rear their ugly heads. Well, we start to drive into Jags territory, but it doesn't last long as AI Mahomes starts using his special move, just standing there brain dead and taking 2 devastating sacks. We're forced to punt it back to the Jags down 10. T-Law picks up right where he left off and fits one into Travis Hunter before they find their way to our red zone again, and Lawrence puts a bullet on his slot guy on the post, and we're in real danger now as they go up 17-0 on us, and I'm going to try and dig us out starting now. We start things off with a nice catch and run by Holman to get us onto Jacksonville's side. We're feeding Love a few more carries where he gets us knocking on the door, and Deon Dean comes across the middle to finally get us on the board 7-17 nearing halftime. The Jags just keep shredding our defense like it's nothing on the next drive though, with running back Deshaun Childs taking an outside handoff around the edge, making Mac Beckham miss in space, taking it all the way in for a 37-yard touchdown, and they're right back up 17 points just outside the 2-minute warning. warning. We quickly work our way back into scoring position and hit Bo Rhodes on the shallow crosser to cut into their lead again, but at this point it just feels like it's all going to come down to our defense getting a stop or two for us to have any chance. We receive the ball after half, and we have a chance to put ourselves in position to only be down 3, and AI Mahomes keeps making positive plays. Before you know it, we're in position to score again, and on 3rd and 8, Mahomes pins it on Nick Dempsey sitting between zones in the end zone, and we're one stop away from being able to tie it up, or even better, take the lead. They line up for a sneak on 3rd and inches on our side, but they fail to convert, and we get the stop that we need as they get conservative with the lead and decide to punt it to us. Oh, I can feel it in my bones. The comeback is imminent, and AI Mahomes just chucks it right to a linebacker, and now they've got it at our 20. Once again, they hand it off to their back, Childs, who breaks one tackle and spins through another at the goal line, and we're back at a 10-point deficit with a little over a quarter to go in this game, 21-31. I pick up the sticks again, and we move down the field in a blur, finding Bo Rhodes wide open in the corner, and he glides in to put us back in striking distance, 28-31. The fourth quarter starts off with a big 3rd down and 8 that turns into a big 3rd and 13 as somebody gets antsy on the O-line, and T-Law just throws it away, and I'm giving AI Mahomes one more shot at winning this thing. We quickly find ourselves on 3rd and 10, but Mahomes waits patiently in the pocket as Holman beats his guy on the corner route, going out at the 50, and we're still alive for now. But on the very next play, Jeremiah Love takes the inside carry and gets trucked trying to make a move, losing the ball, and the Jags are able to dive on it at their own 40, and it's just starting to feel like it's not our day. Lawrence hucks it over his receiver's shoulder on 3rd and long, and they're already in scoring position in no time. If we can keep them out of the end zone, we still have a really good chance of winning this thing. They keep driving, and another 3rd and long arises, and this time, Lawrence puts a laser on his wideout, Conrad Taylor, and they're back up 10 points with only 3.5 minutes left to play. We're going to need to score quickly, so I dial up the Connor play, hitting Bo Rhodes between the cover 2 safeties, and he's eventually caught from behind at Jacksonville's 20 before we take a devastating sack next that backs us up big time. But on 3rd and 17, we find Holman running free up the seam, and we're back in this thing with the game hinging on our defense being able to get one stop for us. Lawrence makes a crazy improv play, flipping it to his back, who picks up 5 yards on 1st down. And on the next play, Demarius Harris misses the tackle on Conrad Tyler, who gets our 2nd timeout and gives them a fresh set of downs. They run it twice in a row next, managing to get our last timeout, taking it to the 2-minute warning, and mismanaging the clock a bit. But on 3rd and 11, for all the marbles, Lawrence finds Travis Hunter going up the seam, and our season is going to end in heartbreak in the wild card round. One ring away from our goal, losing to the stacked Jacksonville Jags 35-38, and we're gonna have to try again next year to get to the ultimate goal. Welcome to Season 8, everybody. Last time, we lost in heartbreaking fashion to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who took us out in the wildcard round in a nail-biter. But today, we're going to try and finish the fight and get our 8th ring to make Patrick Mahomes the undisputed GOAT. So let's go. We sim ahead to the Super Bowl, where I make a horrifying realization. We're going to be missing out on Super Bowl 6-7, where the Giants are going to be taking on the Chargers. The Chargers bring home the bacon in a low-scoring game, 17-9, and I might just fall to my knees knowing that virtual Chargers fans get to be happy about something. Anyways, we hit the offseason, and the team's looking much different as we let guys walk like Creed Humphrey and Josh Simmons, who are becoming unk and starting to regress heavily. The offensive line in particular is going to need to be addressed, but other than that, we're big chillin'. I mean, look at our defense right now. We're just juiced to the teeth with talent. As of right now, we're up against the cap and money's tight, so I make an offer to Connor Lew, who's coming off his rookie deal, and he's going to be our big signing at center. I want some more draft capital heading into this one, and we've got one way of making that happen. It's trading time. We're able to ship Alex Springs off to Tampa for their 1st and 2nd round picks, and I think this will ensure we get the guys we need to secure our O-line of the future. We hop into the draft. With Tampa's pick number 17, we're going to grab tackle Preston Madden, who's got hidden dev, and I think we've successfully replaced Josh Simmons for now. Next up at 23, we rip Roosevelt Smith, who's a total steal, ranked 10th in true value, and I'm elated with this pick. Fast forward to round 2, and with Tampa's 2nd round pick, I decided to get a little crazy and just rip a kicker, Trevor McMullen, who's the rank 5 overall player in the draft, and now we have our Cam Little replacement. Pick 23 of the 2nd round, I decided to go offensive lineman again, this time taking Colby Freeman out of Mississippi State, and while he's a bit of a reach right now, he's got hidden dev and could kick inside to guard for us, as that's a need as well. Next up, we take a big swing and miss on a homunculus wide receiver, Elijah Calcutta, who's got a blazing fast 40 time, but 0 skills as a receiver, but he does have hidden dev, so maybe he can develop into a starter someday. In round 5, looking for some more cornerback depth, we take Carlos Hill, who's another reach, but we didn't need him to start right away for us, and that's going to do it for us in the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm feeling pretty good about this one since we had a few glaring needs, and I think we filled them accordingly. We quickly go through training camp, and it's time for the regular season where we're going to be opening the season, taking on Super Bowl champion LA Chargers in their house, led by QB Dante Moore. I guess they dumped Herbert a while back. They take control early on a big-time run by Hampton for a score, but we're able to find our way back with a big-time run of our own by Jeremiah Love, who goes the distance to put us on top. An untimely turnover by Hampton lets us fully take control, and LA keeps up with us in the first half, but in the second, it's a different story, as our defense just shuts them down, and we come away 1-0 after the 38-21 blowout. Simming ahead to mid-season, we're doing great at 4-1, but I decide it's time to rip another blockbuster trade before the deadline. We're going to dish our X-Factor safety Nick McMillan to the Titans in exchange for 2 first-round picks and a second. With that out of the way, we're going to just sim to the playoffs where we finish the season 13-4, but somehow we lost the division to Mendoza and the Raiders, and we're going to have to claw our way through the bracket as the 5th seed. We're kicking off the playoffs, taking on Drake, the schedule May, and the Patriots in their house, where they receive first and are driving, but Jordan Hill comes in to make a timely sack to put them behind schedule. We're able to get a stop holding him to 3 on their opening drive. We're able to take the lead early as Mahomes stands in and delivers to Jackson Holman on the out route, and our tight end gallops free into the end zone to put us up 7-3. We trade punts with New England before they take the lead again, finding tight end Justin Jolie in the corner of the end zone 10-7. We're driving next, taking it into New England's red zone when AI Mahomes uses his special ability, getting sacked big time. We're unable to convert, taking our 3 and tying up the game back at 10-10. New England masterfully works their way in range and scores a field goal, and they're suddenly up 3 going into halftime 13-10. We receive to start the second half and immediately get to work as AI Mahomes finds Bo Rhodes cooking on the quick dig, and our big guy lumbers all the way down the field through contact for a lead-taking score 17-13. New England takes over and disaster strikes as their back tries taking it around the edge but gets held up and smacked by Ashton Ferguson, who jars it free, and we recover deep in New England territory. Jeremiah Love gets us down to the goal line, and Deion Dean scores on the RPO throw, and we're up 24-13 now, with the ball in our court to put this thing away. Well, that's just what we do, because on the next drive, Mahomes finds our other white boy wideout, Nick Dempsey, coming over the middle on a dig, and the speedster slips through 3 defenders and into the end zone, and now we're straight up killing the Patriots. To add insult to injury, cap things off with a strip sack on May, and a 90-yard scoop and score fumble recovery touchdown, and we show that we're the real 2 seed in the playoffs, destroying New England 45-16 to advance to the divisional round. Simming ahead, we've got a chance at payback, where we'll be taking on our hated rivals, the 15-2 Las Vegas Raiders once again. And I don't know if you guys remember, but every time we've taken them on in the past, it's been absolute cinema. The Raiders get backed up by a holding call in the opening drive, and they're unable to overcome the extra yardage, going 3 and out. And out comes 37-year-old Patrick Mahomes, still putting up monster numbers as he leads the team on a quick march down the field, ending with a screen for Love, and the back takes it in to put us up early. We trade punts with the Raiders for a while before we're able to finally put something together, and our offense charges deep into Vegas territory, where Mahomes finds Deion Dean coming across on a quick slant and puts us up 14-0 on the good-for-nothing Raiders. The Raiders offense is fully in neutral, and we get the ball back for one more push, where we kick it through to put us up 17-0 to end the half. We start off the half scoring on them again, with Jackson Holman taking a block and release route to put us up a whopping 24-0 before Vegas finally puts something together, with Mendoza firing to Antoine Scruggs up the middle for their first score, and they even get an insane garbage time touchdown, with Scruggs catching it, fumbling off a big hit, but Jordan Tyson scoops up the loose ball and takes it all the way in to get Vegas back into the game. We get Vegas to take the rest of their timeouts, but they have one more chance to tie up the game, working their way back into our territory where they're forced to go for it on a big 4th down, where Mac Beckham makes the tackle a hair shy of the line to gain, and we get the ball back, running out the clock, taking a close dub against the Raiders 24-16 to advance to the AFC Championship game. Well, look who it is. They broke our hearts last year, and now they're back again in the AFC Championship game, looking to gatekeep us from our goal yet again. The Jags are back at only 10-7 this time, led once again by Prince Charming, who gets them rolling on a strong opening drive that starts giving me flashbacks. But on our 32, their back Childs, who terrorized us last year, takes the outside carry and gets slammed by Bryce Myers, forcing it free, and we recover, putting an end to their promising drive. Mahomes and co work their way down the field in a flash, but just like last time, AI Mahomes commits an act of terror early, tossing it right to lurking safety Riley Grant. The Jags get the ball back deep on their side. The Jags get rolling again, but this time Jadarius Scott manages to break it up on 3rd and 8, and Cardi misses the field goal attempt, and we can all wipe our brows for now. Mahomes Mahomes finds Holman to get us deep into Jags territory next, before we cap things off with Bo Rhodes coming over the middle to take the lead 7-0 halfway into the second quarter. Lawrence gets their offense moving again, and they answer back with one of their own as he finds tight end Kerry McRae coming over the middle on a crosser, and we're all tied up 7-7 inside the 2-minute warning. Our offense easily works into range, and on 1st and goal, AI Mahomes becomes fucking Superman once again, spinning out of a sack and throwing a crossbody laser right on Bo Rhodes to put us back in the driver's seat at 14-7 just before half. We receive again at half and find ourselves right back where we want to be, driving into Jags territory off the back of a Will Rodriguez catch and rumble down near the goal line, where AI Mahomes takes it in on a sneak, and now we've got a mighty lead over the Jags, 21-7. Things don't stay that way for long, however, as Lawrence fakes the handoff and turns into Vanilla Vic, rounding the edge, and it turns into a foot race as he finds an angle and outruns our entire defense for a 53-yard rushing touchdown to cut into our lead 14-21. We get moving again, this time with Mahomes laying it over the top to Nick Dempsey on the outside before they manage to stop us in our tracks as AI Mahomes takes a sack and we're forced to try a kick that our rookie Trevor McMullen misses, and the Jags are getting it back in premium field position. A few plays later, Lawrence launches up an absolute piss missile looking for BTJ in the end zone, and the receiver actually goes up and gets the jump ball, and the score is suddenly tied up again in the fourth quarter, 21-21. The next drive starts off nightmarishly as Mahomes gets injured after getting clobbered by a free rusher on 2nd and 11, and our backup comes in on 3rd and 21 and does the same. And before you know it, we're punting out of our own end zone, back to the Jags with 5 minutes to go in the game. Luckily for us, our defense holds up strong, swarming their running back for a TFL and making a quick tackle on 3rd and long to force them to try a field goal. McCarty pushes to the right, missing once again, and miraculously, we're going to take over with a chance to take the lead. I'm going to take over the offense for the first time this postseason on this crucial drive, and thankfully Mahomes is back in the game as we start driving with one objective in mind: burn the clock. Jackson Holman makes a tight window catch on 3rd and long to keep things going before we put it in Love's hands next to pick up the 3rd and short, well within field goal range. We run it a few more times to get their remaining timeouts. We set up the rookie McMullen for the game winner, and he nails it. The kick is good, and we're on our way to Super Bowl 68, where we're going to have a chance at finally getting Mahomes ring number 8. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and we're going to be taking on the unlikely 9-8 Vikings in Super Bowl 68, and they're led by young QB Tommy Sweat, who put up a respectable turnover-free year in the regular season. Sweat kicks things off with a dot to his guy on a deep crosser to get them near midfield, and they just keep driving, steadily picking up first downs until we manage to stop them as Sweat runs into a sack off his blind side on 3rd and long, and they settle for 3 on their opening drive to take the lead. Goated Kermit gay jogs onto the field as always, and I'm just hoping we won't see any acts of terror from him today. A couple of quick throws get us moving onto Minnesota's side of the field, where Unc recognizes man coverage and bolts, getting tackled inside the 10 to set us up nicely, but we're unable to capitalize with AI Mahomes in a special maneuver, getting stripped, and then one play later getting sacked again, and we're lucky to even tie up the game 3-3 with a kick at this point. Sweat makes a big time throw on 3rd and long to Addison up the seam to get them moving, and delivers another bullet over the middle to get them near our red zone in a flash. They're left on 3rd and long next, but Sweat throws this guy a hospital ball and it's broken up, and they're just about to settle for another 3 when pressure gets through and we block the kick, getting Mahomes and the offense the ball back, still tied up. Jeremiah Love starts things off with a nice run up the gut to pick up about 20 before we nickel and dime our way down to their goal line, and Mahomes finds Jackson Holman running free up the seam, and we've taken the lead 10-3 halfway through 2 quarters. The Vikings offense can't get it done on the next drive, going 3 and out, and we're back in the driver's seat with a chance to widen our lead. Love starts off with another good run before Mahomes finds Dion Dean headed towards the sideline, and we're in Minnesota territory in no time. It looks grim on 3rd and 5, but Unc takes it himself again, lumbering inside the 20 of Minnesota, where he finds big ol' Bo Rhodes breaking in on a post, and we pull off a last-second score to go up 17-3 right before half on the Vikings. We receive the ball at half, and AI Mahomes pulls off another heroic scramble to get us into striking position again before diving in on a QB sneak from the goal line, and now we're killing the Vikings 24-3, and things are looking good so far. Sweat and the Vikings make it past midfield on their next drive. We manage to break up the pass for Addison on 3rd and long, and they decide to just settle for 3, putting themselves at 6-24 late in the 3rd. We go 3 and out on the next drive with AI Mahomes trying to speed run retirement on 3rd down, and the Vikings are going to get desperate as Billy Patterson is all over the back as he catches the check down on 3rd and 11, and they're going to have to go for it on 4th and 9. Sweat chucks up a rainbow down the sideline, and Addison manages to hang on to it to keep him alive for now. They keep going, but our defense is super sticky in coverage as we keep rallying, making tackles with no chance for run after catch, and once again, they have to go for it on 4th and 11 this time, and Sweat delivers to Addison well short of the marker, and Beckham and Scott take him down to get us the ball back at our 25. We steadily notch first down after first down, burning away the clock, and they never see the ball again. We come away victorious in Super Bowl 68, 24-6 in blowout fashion, and finally, after 16 seasons, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have pulled off the unthinkable, winning 8 Lombardi trophies and becoming a historic dynasty. We finally hit our goal and made Patrick Mahomes the undisputed GOAT, winning more rings than Tom Brady, and now he can hang up the cleats and retire after a career that started off with greatness and ended the same way. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and consider becoming a member of the Ball Knowers on Patreon, or become a channel member to join our community Discord where we can talk ball. And also, let me know down below which team you guys want me to rebuild in the next video. Peace!